Welcome to the SEGA Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things SEGA, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for SEGA. Indeed, hello! Hello everyone, welcome to the SEGA Lounge. We're live this week for our live episode of the month of March 2024. Yes, my name's KC, welcome to the show. Hope everyone's doing well. And as usual, during these special live shows, I am not alone. Joining me tonight, my partners in crime. First up, who's going to go first? They're both ready. They don't know. It's SkillJim.
Hello.
Hello.
How is everyone doing?
Doing well. Nice shirt. Like that shirt. Yeah. Yeah. We're twinsies.
I'm here with all the merch today.
Oh, same here. Very good. Very good job. How are you, mate?
Cheers.
Doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thanks. Well, I've been better, I suppose, but that's a story for another day that you probably don't want to know about. But today I'm doing fine.
But thank you for being here. We always appreciate that. Yeah, this is basically your show now. Yeah, and same for our other partner in crime, Twitch affiliate LiVE Reversed. Hello,
me. My gosh. I don't even have the merch thingy. I have this though.
Okay, you're representing still. Yeah, good job.
SEGA Pride shirt represent.
Well done. Very good. So thank you guys for joining me. And we're gonna have another guest joining us very, very soon, but due to technical issues and scheduling issues, he's going to be joining us a little bit later, but stay tuned for that. However, thank you very much everyone for joining us either on twitch.tv/the SEGA Lounge. Do it. If you're not following us on Twitch, why not? You should. We do these live shows every month. Sometimes I stream games, sometimes occasionally I do that. But yeah. And if you're listening on Radio SEGA, hello as well. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Yeah. Anyway, before we get started, so we have a very interesting and controversial episode for you this week. Oh my God. Yes. It's going to be.
Oh my goodness.
There will be blood. There will be blood. Okay. We're going to fight to the death and defend the honor of SEGA IPs that we love. And we're going to rank them. But I wanted to talk about something that I've been talking about since the beginning of the season. We now have merch again, like SkillJim so proudly displays, and myself as well. Right? You have the awesome, the awesome black mug, the 10th anniversary black mug that is very popular these days. I'm also working on some. And if you're watching the video version, there will be some OG merch, OG imagery merch. So if for people who are probably not familiar with the roots of this show, this was originally a Radio SEGA show. And back in the day, 10 years ago, 2014, this was the original logo designed by Kopke, our good friend Manuel Garcia Melgar. And I decided to try it on this nice cap. So maybe other stuff is coming as well for people who love their t-shirts and stuff. Yeah, we'll do that. So yeah. Hello. Aloha. Yeah. You should play Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Anyway, thesegalounge.com/support if you want to support the show, get some nice merch, or you can also buy us a coffee as well. I love my caffeine. I also love my water, but mostly the caffeine.
I thought you were going to say I also love my wife.
I also love my wife, but mostly my caffeine. Yes, that's it. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, the SegaLounge.com/support if you want to help us out. And do spread the word about the Sega Lounge. Always very much appreciated. We now have a YouTube channel that is a little bit more active. We've had a YouTube channel for a while, but I never did anything with it. So now all the episodes are thanks to YouTube's like RSS feed puller. Yeah, they pull the RSS feed, and all episodes are automatically uploaded to YouTube. And we've also added a couple of clips. Maybe I'll do more with that. And some of our live shows are also there. So check us out on YouTube as well. Anyway, that's more than enough of self-promoting, self-plugging. Let's talk about this week's show, and let's talk about this week's news, or this month's, I guess, news, right? So we always do this. We also always start our live shows with the news, and we have a few things to talk about here. Although before that, maybe I think it's time to introduce. I don't know. Is it time to introduce our other guest? I don't know. Is it? It seems so. It seems so.
Oh my gosh.
So let's see if they unmute themselves, we'll reveal.
Consider it done.
Okay. And so joining us this week as well, we have Ravsieg. Hello, Ravsieg.
Ravsieg!
Hey, hello Casey, hello Lime, hello Jim, and hello to all our amazing viewers on Twitch and listeners on Radio Sega and listeners on the Sega Lounge podcast. It's great having all of you here. I imagine that Casey has already covered all of this while I was forcefully out for the last few minutes, and I'm sorry to everyone for that.
No one knew. This was like a seamless transition.
Cheers, son.
Now you blew our cover, your own cover.
Well, that's what happens when I'm not here to know that you're doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's fine. You arrived right on time as we were starting to cover the news for this month.
Cool.
Right? Yeah, that's it. So let's get right into that. But thank you, Rav, for joining us. Very nice to have you for this very special show. Where it's going to be an interesting discussion. But let's get into the news first. So first up, and I know, I think we're going to go to our news correspondent, SkillJim. No, I'm kidding. He's like, I'm kidding. You can all pitch in on anything that you want. So the first one is regarding a new hire by Sega. Sega hired Justin Scarpone, who I think is weirdly has the face of a Disney villain or something. I don't know. He's like, I don't know. There's something about this guy. That said, Justin, if you want to come on the show, let's talk. Let's talk. I'm really interested in this transmedia team stuff, like from an academic point of view. I'm really interested. So I would love to have you on the show, Justin. Yeah.
What does transmedia actually mean? Is it like just like, I don't know, combining different mediums?
Yeah, it's like having the games, the movies, the I don't know, like the merch. I think it's like having their different IP in different types of media. I think that's the idea here for transmedia. Remember that they gave a talk on the Web Summit last year, I think, and they explained how they were like using their IPs to push different types of content. I think that's what they mean by this. Which
is this like how they're going to be covering all those different types of films, like your Streets of Rage film, your Space Channel 5 film?
Yeah, so I think the plan is to use the official news, as it says here on the Sonic Stadium post. The official news post specifically highlights Persona Like a Dragon and Angry Birds as targets for transmedia expansion. So they want to use these IPs in different ways and like expand their reach and have, make more money. Basically, that's what it is. Just
sense, I suppose.
plainly. Yeah. And so he's got experience apparently with Disney and Scopely, which is a free-to-play mobile developer with a focus on licensed properties. Yeah, and a game that is a rip-off of Fall Guys, apparently. So he's got experience on these issues. So he's like the mega villain of Sega now, the transmedia villain of Sega. Again, Justin, love you. Come on the show. But you do really have a really scary face, I think. I don't know.
It reminded me of Matt a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
So you're saying Matt has a scary face? Maybe. Is it lack of hair? Maybe.
Possibly. Eyes up.
So is this the guy who's going to get us Shenmue 4 by Sega?
Oh. He's going to try and trans the media, maybe. Maybe that's
of course. Yeah. That's like transmedia the heck out of Shenmue. Yeah. Okay. So
it's not a video game confirmed.
I don't care if we get a movie that is true to the source material. Yeah, I don't care.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of Sega IPs that are less likely than Shenmue to have that. I mean, it would make a pretty good
and we're getting those as well.
Film.
Yeah, and we're getting those that are less likely. Yes.
Yeah.
So we never know. But I don't think that's the way to go right now. They're not going to do that. Yeah. So by the way, shout out to people on Twitch, on the Twitch chat. Lewis, our good friend from the Dreamcast Junkyard, says Space Channel 5 toaster. Probably, why not? Or Space Channel 5 on a toaster, like with a screen. Toaster with a screen, and you can like shoo is like when the toast goes out.
Yeah.
You can play as you're waiting for the toast to be done. Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Oh, and then when the toast is done, you make a dance move like to actually activate the toast coming up, like shooting up. It's like you do like a
strike a pose,
and then the toast shoots up. Yeah.
You could grab the toast.
Exactly. Well showed. That's exactly.
You reminded me of Junior Senior's "Move Your Feet," like the video clip.
Oh, that's great. That's a great video clip.
It does have dancing toasts jumping out of the toaster.
Yeah, it does. It has
energy.
everything, like pixelated stuff,
yes.
And it's really
it's all pixelated.
Really cool.
That's right. I'm glad you know it. You've got good taste.
Yeah. Love it. Gum says banger tune, Rev. Don't stop the beat.
I knew you would respect it, Gum.
That's a classic. A classic. Okay, let's move on. So another, and I actually this time I actually like grouped the like more corporate stuff together so we can get through that in a more, I don't know, organized manner. But the next news, it's the most recent one, is the worst one that we're going to cover actually. So it was announced that, and let me move this over. So it was announced that Sega is selling Relic Entertainment and cutting 240 jobs in Europe. Jobs will be lost at Creative Assembly, Sega Europe, and Sega Hardlight, which sucks. In more ways than one, right? So Relic is the studio behind Company of Heroes and the Dawn of War, if I'm not mistaken. But worse than selling the studio, and like they will go independent and keep doing their thing, and they've already said that they'll work on their IPs and stuff. But worse than that is really the fact that so many people are losing their jobs. Any comments, guys? I mean, it's really sad, right?
I know that's the kind of the climate that we're in at the moment, but do you put any of this down to hyenas? I notice it's like listed in this article. Is that because they spent so much money on hyenas, they've had to make some other cuts elsewhere as well? I don't know.
Yeah, they say like this is like maybe possibly a consequence of what they said last year, right? When they canceled Hyenas, that the European market was not really doing as well as they hoped, I think. And they were going to focus more on certain other IPs. And I don't know. I actually, I'm curious to know what would make them feel like the European market was performing well, because you have Football Manager and many other like PC exclusive games, right? Strategy games and stuff, and I think they perform really well for the like the audience they're aimed at, I think. But apparently not enough for Sega to justify keeping these people on board and helping them. Even more puzzling, I think, is Hardlight,
Yeah.
because you'd think they bring a lot of money to the company, but it's a smaller number also being cut at Sega Hardlight. But it's a shame. It's a shame, and I really don't know the reasoning behind this.
It hits very closer to home for me, since like we just interviewed Sega Hardlight, and when it comes to like Sega Europe overall, like I collaborate with them like at least twice a year for the charity streams. So yeah, it's sucks to hear that. Very much.
Yeah. For sure. And probably people we know, right, are being
Yeah.
affected by this in some way or another. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But all the best to people are trying to find new jobs and getting their lives together again, because this is not really the best thing. This is not the kind of news that we like to discuss here, but it's important to realize that it's not affecting just the other companies, the other mostly Western companies out there, but like Sega as well. Nintendo of America, I think today announced layoffs as well. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, there is a little like to the left of the article you just showed, there's a title there about Nintendo of America.
Okay, yeah. And also Portuguese ads. Yes, there were some Portuguese ads as well. Yeah, which is
I
nice.
don't see them on my
just-
on my screen, but it says that Nintendo of America is probably cutting around 120 contractor jobs.
Just to clarify, by the way, there was at some point during that bad pieces of news where I went like, that was totally unrelated to the topic at hand. That's when I noticed the
People are
Portuguese
losing
ads
jobs.
already. Yes.
Yeah. No, I think we understood that. Yeah, I don't know for listeners though. I don't know if listeners get that, but okay. Raph is a really bad person.
Well, that's
Moving on.
not up for the, but that's undeniable. But it's not for this. This is
Yeah.
not the hill I'm gonna die on.
Okay.
It does seem to be like the current climate at the moment. Like, I don't know if they're finding it easy to announce these things because everyone else is. It's not as a massive shock anymore, is it? Because we've seen so many of these articles over the past few months. But I mean, that 5.6 billion yen loss is obviously a significant amount of money. But then are they potentially going to make that back with the Sonic movie later in the year and that sort of stuff? So what is a loss now might not be in the future.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think bad decisions were made all around, not just by Sega, but most game companies. Some of them during the pandemic, I think. In investment-related decisions that were not really that great. I don't think people were expecting. I definitely know that they were not expecting the pandemic. They tried to adjust in order to maximize profit during that time, and when things went back to normal-ish, those bad decisions came to bite them back. So I think that's part of it. It's not all there is to it, but I think it's part of it. Also, is there too much investment, like in massive games? I don't know if that's the Sega problem here, but I think in general, video game companies are investing in like major games, like huge budgets, and yeah.
This is just my personal opinion from afar. Just wanted to make it that clear, but I feel like these video game companies over invested on people on that ride on during the lockdown on the pandemic, because everyone was staying at home, everyone was playing games more so than ever, and it felt like maybe at the time it might have felt that it was going to be forever like that they would be on riding the crest wave forever, but reality hit and numbers are going back to normal. So it feels like companies might be finding themselves with overstaffed, I would say. This, again, my personal take.
Yeah, I totally agreed. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But anyway, it is what it is, right? So unfortunately, it's a reality. So all the best to these 240 people and the other ones that came before them, and all other people on other companies that are suffering from this right now. Hopefully, they can get back on their feet soon. Yeah. Anyway, moving on a very different note, completely different note, which makes it maybe a little bit harder to understand. Good news for Sega. They announced that the Persona series surpassed 22 million copies sold worldwide.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's absolutely amazing.
Which is nice for the company and for the series as well. Are you guys big Persona fans?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so. I've only played two of the games still, but those two games were absolute gems. Like, I could not imagine playing better games. They were absolutely amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones were those, Lime?
4 and 5.
The original ones, like Vanilla 4 and Vanilla 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Probably Golden
Nice.
and Royal. No, really?
No.
Oh, no, really? Okay.
Yeah, really
Those were not
interesting.
the ones I played.
I played
Cool.
Golden and Royal.
We've got an OG over here.
Yeah, sure. No, the real OG is Lewis, who's a big fan of Persona 3, I know for sure. See? He's like, play 3, I knew it.
I have Persona 3 Reload. I have that. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay. Yeah,
I will play it, definitely. I'm looking very much forward to it.
It's part of the plan for me as well, but not right now. I have no time for that yet, but hopefully soon. I wouldn't say I'm a big Persona fan, but I've definitely enjoyed 4 Golden and 5 Royal and Tactica as well. I know you didn't think much of Tactica, Rav.
It's not that I don't think much of it. It's just that it didn't really appease me enough to make me continue paying for Game Pass just for it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because
Do
it is a
better
pretty
next
fun
time.
game.
I
And
thought
we're
it
going to
was.
talk
I thought
about
was.
it later on, I guess. At least I
Yeah.
will.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about the series at least. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So the next batch is not really totally Sega and modern Sega related, but it's like a mix of news that are interesting for people who have been playing Sega games and Sega inspired fan games as well. So next up we have this bit of news. Ex-Sega staffer confirms secret Dragon Quest demo for Saturn. Oh, it was said to be a top secret within the company. Yumiko Miyabe, who was one of she's come on the show before. He was one of the guests, one of the first guests we had on the show when the SEGA Lounge became a podcast. She worked on Space Channel 5. It still works on Space Channel 5 right now. She said that Sega worked, or she worked on Sega's Secret Dragon Quest Saturn pitch. It was a secret project at the time, but she feels okay mentioning it now because it had been already revealed, specifically Yuji Naka. Yuji Naka, like revealing company secrets yet again. This time not financial, but you know, get this man in jail. Again, love you if you want to come on the show. Still, so
Well, Casey just
maybe you-
keeps insulting potential guests. but
Still-
welcome to the show. We would love you here.
5-star
Oh my
PR.
Hashtag free Yuji Naka, says Lewis. Still, Yuji, my guy,
Insider trading legal.
just join us. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously Dragon Quest is was never associated with Sega, with the Sega console, right? Have you guys played Dragon Quest? Are you like big Dragon Quest fans? JRPG,
Tiny bit
turn-based
of
RPG?
11, but
Okay.
I'm not really a massive thing of it.
Mhm.
Like with this actual article and this demo, is Dragon Quest that demanding that it needed to have a demo shown for the capabilities of the Sega Saturn? Could they have not just shown like that little trailer of Shenmue running on the Saturn?
I think
of
it's
their
more
pitch.
of the importance, the cultural importance of Dragon Quest. Like Dragon Quest, like the big RPG series, right? It even inspired Like a Dragon, the latest Like a Dragon games, and the fact that it wasn't on the Saturn probably was one of the things that cost Sega, a lot of market share, if you will. Although the Saturn was big in Japan, the fact that it wasn't on the Saturn and it went to the PlayStation consoles probably was a big deal for people in Japan, right? I interviewed. Sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say, how many Dragon Quests were released prior to this? Do you know?
Right now, I mean, or prior to this,
prior to the Sega Saturn, like.
I have no clue. Was it like 5? I don't know, 8?
Okay. So it was always big then.
Yeah, it's big. It's big since was it the NES, the first one? I think so. Actually, now that I think about it, we could actually check. We're really well prepared right here. Yeah. So Dragon Quest, the first game was for the Famicom and NES. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Very good. The first four were on the NES. Yeah. And so that's it. So if you had a Dragon Quest on the Saturn, that would have been huge as well. So the fact that they were working on it, I don't think it's like for the capability, a good way to show the capabilities of the console, but more of like we could have had this on the Saturn console, the Sega console, and it would have been big, would have pushed the console even further in Japan and the rest of the world. I think that is the thing here. Lewis is saying, I think you probably had 6 out by the time the Saturn was a thing. 7 was on PS1. Thank you. Thank you for confirming this. Yeah. But just an interesting tidbit, like, with a huge RPG series like that, it would have been interesting for Sega, but it wasn't meant to be. Yeah. Any other comment on this? Just thought this was interesting to mention. No comments. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to mention briefly. Oh, sorry, Raf.
Now, a quick question. How big was Dragon Quest in the West back then? Because it felt like back in that time, like Japanese RPG games didn't really have much of attraction here. It might have helped the Saturn in Japan, but I am personally not 100% confident that it would have made a difference in the West.
No, I don't think it would either. Yeah, I don't think it would. I don't think like this type of RPG, unless you were like a really big RPG fan from the get-go, which I don't think that many people were, it would have been big here. I think it would have helped the console in Japan, although it did pretty well in Japan already, but it would have been bigger, I think. Would have like probably help crush the PS1 or something. Maybe not. I don't know.
Drive Sony out of the console business.
Probably. Yeah. Just like Lewis is saying, right? Not a system seller in the West enough. Yeah. That's it.
I felt good when Lewis's message came up because it felt like I knew what I was talking about, which is not a common occurrence.
Reaffirmed.
Like vindication.
Precisely.
I'm not really sure what would have propelled the West Sega Saturn. I think it's just the price, wasn't it? The price knocked it back a step.
Actually, I saw a post on Twitter with the price comparison over time, and other than the launch, it was pretty much even throughout ever since the PS's launch. So the price tag, maybe it's more of a matter of perception than it actually is that the Saturn was more expensive, because apparently it never was whenever the PS was already on sale.
Okay.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a good topic for another show. Yeah. Although it's been well documented, but
I wish
everyone
I could
has
credit that bit, but I forgot who it was.
It's okay. We're all about stealing stuff here. Again, Yuji. Okay.
Come to the show.
Noah Copeland announced recently that he's stepping down from the development team of Sonic Drift 16-bit, right? And then shortly after, he announced a new studio, Sundio Games, which have this nice little logo here. He posted this on Twitter. And so, nice. He wants to work on his own games, like original IP and stuff. So, good for him. I just wanted to shout out Noah, past guest on the show. And apparently, development on Sonic Drift 16-bit is still continuing, still going on. But, Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit is an amazing game. If you haven't played it, you should. It's really, really nice. Have you guys played it? Putting you on the spot.
I tried to try it.
Okay.
For last year's Sage, but it just ran very like it was like everything was in slow motion all of the time, so I just couldn't
Really
play it for some reason. It ran very weirdly, and I couldn't find a solution for it.
Interesting. I played it on my Steam Deck.
System line.
Sorry?
Were you using an 8-bit system? Perhaps?
Oh, yeah, that's what I tried. But it's usually an 8-bit game, right? So it should work.
No, it's a 16-bit game. That's where you were wrong.
That's
the problem.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I actually recommend. It's a brilliant game, brilliant version of the game, and it's got all these like different Easter eggs and little extra bits and characters and stuff you can unlock. Yeah, great game. Great game. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. The final bit of like fan related news, and this was mentioned in last week's episode. Okay, Frogbull, who's been working on like different like prototypes for Saturn games and like Metal Gear Solid on the Saturn and other stuff, he actually created something really cool called Star Wars Dream of the Rebellion. And it's like, it's using apparently Luke Benstead's simulant engine that we mentioned last week on the show. And it's really looks really cool.
It
Have you
does
guys
very
check
much.
this out? Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks
I
very
watched the trailer or the video on YouTube. It does
Yeah.
look great. Yeah.
Orange swirl. That's a bad start.
And I don't want to say anything,
worse.
but the little R2D2 on the controller here looks a little bit suspect from where I'm looking.
Oh my gosh! Okay. When you put it like that, I saw it as well.
Okay.
My
I think I
God.
know exactly what you were referring to.
Yeah,
And I
he look-
hate
it-
that I
it-
know exactly what you're
I mean,
referring
it's
to.
hard
It
not to-
looks like a Dalek. That's what he's talking about.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
of
not.
course.
Of course.
Exactly, Casey.
My God. Lewis says, I played a build he sent me. Really cool. Feels very polished. Nice.
Cool.
It really is.
looks great. Really looks great.
Looks really good. It's amazing what people are doing with the Dreamcast. It's just amazing. Yeah. So let me move this a little bit further. Okay. There's an intro there and stuff. Yeah. And there we go. Like actual proper gameplay. This is amazing. So if you want to support this, patreon.com/frogbull. By the way, he has a Patreon. And yeah, the thing with Frogbull I've been learning is that he doesn't really announce stuff. He just drops something. Oh, look, I did this. I made this. Just try it out. It's not like many other projects where, okay, I'm working on like a Star Wars game. And then like a year later, oh, I'm still working on this. No, he just drops things. So it's here. It's like, just try it out.
Suddenly,
Is this a
just
full game?
exists.
Was this a demo?
I think this is just like a demo. Apparently, I haven't played it, but apparently Lewis says he played a build. So I don't think it's the full game yet. It's just like probably like a proof of concept or something. But Lewis will probably correct me if I'm wrong.
I'd love that he well, it looks like he was using some movie footage for cutscenes
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's a demo, just a mini game currently, the one you're watching. Okay, so just this. It's just this mini game. But still, really impressive. Really impressive stuff, I think.
True.
Running on the Dreamcast. Okay, that's it. Go check it out. Frogbull. Also, great name. Love the name. Frogbull.
Bullfrog, but the other way, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like Frogbull reversed. I don't know. Anyway, maybe not. Okay, moving on. So I've been talking a lot, guys. Would you like to, James, you're our news guy. Would you like to cover the next bit of news?
Yeah, sure. So if you've got Apple Arcade coming on April the 4th, there's a brand new Puyo Puyo game called Puyo Puyo Puzzle Pop. You can actually, on the website, if you access this via your iPhone, there's a handy link that allows you to sort of not pre-download, but sort of, I want to download this in the future. And it looks quite fun. I've never been a huge Puyo Puyo fan. It's one of those games I tend to feel like I want to buy and play in, but then when I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe this isn't the type of game for me. But it's a really cool game. It's obviously, if anyone remembers Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine,
Yeah.
basically that, and obviously Puyo Puyo.
It's the OG
I'm
Mean Bean Machine.
I'm sure I'm not
Yeah.
revealing what Puyo Puyo is for the first time to the listeners of this podcast, but yeah.
Yeah. My relationship with Puyo Puyo is complicated as well, because I think they're really, really good games, amazing puzzle games. I just suck at them. That's my only
I think that's
issue
my
here.
issue.
Yeah. It's like Puyo Puyo Tetris were two amazing games, but I just end up playing Tetris.
And being amazing at it. I've tried to play against you, never won one single time.
I actually, I think people say that Tetris players have or at least at some point had a little bit of an edge when playing against just like Puyo Puyo players in Puyo Puyo Tetris Online. But I always felt that a really good Puyo player had an edge against like a decent Tetris player. You just probably had to be really, really good to have that edge. I was actually at some point top 10 or 15 or something. But the top was always Puyo. So because it was really nice. It's really like a very thrilling feeling to play that, because you never knew what was going to happen. But yeah, good times.
What was
I'm talking about the original
the-
one, not the second game, though.
Oh, I was just literally about to ask that. Yeah, so I was saying there was a lot of fanfare for like the Puyo Puyo Tetris, and I never really heard about the Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 too much from people.
Yeah, I think probably timing. When did it release? Was it pre-pandemic, or I think it was a little bit, but
It just sort of came out of nowhere. I felt like.
yeah, I don't know why it didn't get the attention that the original one had. I think, yeah, but okay, yeah. So, are you guys getting this?
I've wishlisted it or whatever the Apple
Pre,
term
I
is.
want this.
Yeah. So I'll give it a go.
Yeah, Ravsieg.
Wasn't on my radar, but
You're a massive Puyo Puyo fan.
Oh, of course I mean, I like Puyo Puyo. So I mean, making jokes about it would be unfair and not real. Thing is, I am not really an Apple Arcade subscriber, and I think Sega would need more than Puyo to sell me Apple Arcade. I think that's gonna happen with Fall Sonic guys. Now that I might sign up for. So
Okay,
I might
fair
just
enough.
enjoy the ride and try Puyo.
We
Fair
should definitely
enough.
play that all.
If it's still available by then, right?
Oof.
I think
So
Sonic Dream
positive.
Team is like worth grabbing Apple Arcade for.
Probably.
Uh,
I would say so. If you're a Sonic fan, if you're like a
yeah,
And you are a
I-
Sonic fan, right, Ravsieg?
I guess we're gonna find out when I say which tier I'm putting Sonic.
gosh.
But yeah, but Shoot Your Rocket, as Lewis mentioned that it got sunset, unfortunately. But that's one that I'm gonna be sad that I didn't get to try.
Mhm.
I think I was more interested in Shoot Your Rocket than on Sonic Dream Team. Sorry, guys.
They do acknowledge it. We talked about that. They talked about that actually, right? Like when we interviewed the Hardlight guys. It's also something that it's probably a mix of reception, like player base, perhaps popularity, and the deal with Apple Arcade. These deals are probably limited to just a certain period of time as well, apparently, unless they're very, very popular, and it's if so, they'll
If they're making
probably-
a lot of money, essentially.
yeah, if they're making a lot of money, that the deals can be extended. But if that's not the case, probably not. Yeah, and I'm not sure if also being like launch titles for Apple Arcade. Who wanted to who would subscribe to Apple Arcade for Choo Rocket? I did. I mean, but I'm
Who
crazy.
ever do that?
But I'm
So
crazy.
crazy. I was.
I'm not really an example for anyone. So yeah.
Your words, not ours, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I stand by this. Yeah. So April 4th. So it's in like a week. Next week we'll have a new Puyo Puyo Puzzle Pop on
Puyo Puyo
Apple
Puyo
Arcade.
Puyo.
Puyo
This
Puyo
time
Puzzle
next
Pop.
week?
PPP. This time next week. Yeah. Okay. Next bit of news. Oh, this is the most exciting one, and I'm sure James is just dying to talk about this.
I think this is a Lime one, right?
Oh, really?
Think
What,
so?
Sonic Cross Angry Birds?
Sonic
to
and
talk
Angry
about this?
Birds getting a crossover across multiple games. We see Angry Birds 2. We saw Sonic Forces earlier, like Angry Birds characters in Sonic Forces, and then Sonic characters in Angry Birds, and like Sonic themed things in Angry Bird games. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean,
I didn't
it
even
looks
know
fun.
there were so many Angry Bird games.
I mean, neither actually.
It looks fun, but as this finished, because if you look at the end of the trailer here, available for a limited time, is the end date? Is that not the end date that's gone?
Oh, good. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I actually thought it was still going. Okay, I thought it was like a more
Why would they
extended
create so
run.
much for like only a week?
Yeah, it was just like a week, right? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I thought it was still going.
Correction. I said Sonic Forces. I didn't mean Sonic Forces. I meant like the Sonic,
Sonic
Dash,
Dash,
Forces.
probably
Forces.
Sonic
Yeah.
Dash. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we actually meant by this was a thing, right? So if you played this, good on you. Tell us what you thought of this. We
didn't,
obviously
actually.
didn't because we didn't
I
even
thought I
know
had
it
more
was
time.
over. Yeah, I
mean,
thought so too. I thought so too.
Limited
I
time
don't have
events.
any of these games.
I feel like limited time events are a pretty common strategy for these mobile games under this like gacha model. If you get the characters or whatever you are supposed to get in these 7 days, you're gonna have them forever. I presume that is what it is, isn't it?
Usually, right? Usually, if
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
unlockable characters, yes, that's
Yeah.
usually what happened with Sonic Dash.
It'll
Yeah, and if
probably on
not,
sort of
they'll-
rotation, right?
yeah, at some point later, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So keep your eye out for another crossover event at some point. This was not the first one, by the way. They had crossed over like Sonic and Angry Birds before. I do remember that when I was a little bit more of an active player of like Sonic Dash and stuff. I do remember that. But this
What, before the Rovio takeover? Or
before the Rovio takeover, for sure, for sure. Don't quote me on that, but almost 100% sure, like 99% sure that happened before. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. So that's over. I'm sorry. Bye bye. Maybe next time. Keep your eye out on Sonic socials for more news on that. Next up, I am very excited about this because we talked about this game not long ago. I think it was on our Radio SEGA Knowledge Showdown show. There was a question about this next game, and I think at that time I mentioned I was really sad that it wasn't really available anymore, and I think I didn't know why. I thought it was like a licensing issue. Obsidian developed the game, Sega published it. It wasn't really available on PC anymore, either on Steam. But now, thankfully, depending on who you ask, but for me, thankfully, Alpha Protocol is back. Yes, DRM free for modern PCs. Yeah, there's a documentary on the process of its revival as well on the GOG or GOG or Good Old Games website. So do check that out. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of this game, but I really did enjoy it when I played it. I associate it with a specific point in my life. Have you guys played this?
No?
You've tried to convince me.
I played it for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a little bit. I think I said this last time we talked about this game, but it's a little bit like has a slow start. I think.
Yeah, I feel like I remember a really long character creation process thing, right?
Not that much. No, really, that's not the issue at all. You can't customize much, like the hair, the skin color, perhaps, and like wearing glasses or not, facial hair. That's it. So that's not the issue. I think it's like the beginning of the game, and before it actually picks up and starts to get more interesting and the mechanics start to flow, I think it takes a little bit. And it's
like
not
a leveling up system in there.
Yeah, it's an RPG. It's an RPG. Like it says, it's the espionage RPG. But it's like, imagine like Fallout, but with spies. It's a very simplistic way of saying this and of selling this. This is not as complex as a
Oh,
Fallout game.
spies.
Spies. Yes.
I heard spice.
Not
Yes.
spice. It's not a spicy RPG. No, that's not the kind of game they're going for here.
It's like Fallout, but with spice.
Yeah,
Spice.
the ultimate
Wow.
goal is to steal
Spicy.
cinnamon.
I mean, it can get a little bit spicy though. It can get a little bit spicy. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I associate this game with Summer of Sonic 2013 because I went to London for Summer of Sonic that year, and then I went to a game store or something, and there was like the Xbox version, the Xbox 360 version of this, like £5 or something, and I bought it, and I thought I'm not gonna like this game. It's not really the style of game that I think I like, and then I really enjoyed it. So that's probably part of the reason why I like it. And I've been playing it since last week. Yeah. And it's also available with a 10% discount, launch discount until April 3rd. So if you do want to check that out, I've been playing it on my Steam Deck and it's really nice, really reliving all the memories. Everything you do, like you have to talk with other NPCs and stuff, and everything you do has an effect on the story and on your character, like usual.
That's how you sold this is a conversation from like 10 years ago or something, but
Yeah.
that is how you sold Life is Strange to me. You and remember Tiago from Sega Portugal?
Yeah.
You both of you sold Life is Strange to me by telling me that every change that you make makes a difference. And then I started playing, and the first thing that happened, I didn't want it to happen, and the game wouldn't let me change it. So
That's
how
it.
can I?
So that's it. Everything you do has a consequence. This not so much. That's a little bit more extreme than this. But yeah, you have like relationships with all the characters, and they can like you or not like you, and you can make allies or enemies, and that changes how missions go. Sometimes you think you're gonna go like into a very deadly mission. You look like armed and whatever, and it's just like a dialogue with a person. And if you're able to convince him that you're just like an IT guy, you just complete your mission without doing anything. It's like 1 minute instead of like a 10-minute long mission. So things can change depending on the choices that you make. There are multiple outcomes and possibilities. Yeah, it's fun. Also, hello, Scotty. Scotty is here. I've heard good things. It just went under anyone's radar outside of the Sega world. That's true. But yeah, that's something that's available for you to play now. And that said, because we're running a little bit late with the news as per usual, and we're gonna go into the tier list after this. But let's finish off with the Sonic news. So first up, Sonic Toys Party. Oh my God, the excitement. Everyone's like,
No.
yeah, that's the thing.
This is by far the thing that I am the most excited about that we've talked about today. Because
Clearly.
I've got a platinum trophy on Fall Guys. I've played it that much.
Okay.
This seems really interesting because I don't know how this is going to translate to mobile controls, because I presume this is going to use touch controls and stuff, right?
Is
I mean,
this a mobile game though?
it's Apple Arcade, isn't it?
I don't
At least
know. Is it though?
That's what I
thought it was
heard.
like a-
'Cause
And it looks
I
like
could-
you see those
Yeah.
those
I know what you mean,
circles
actually.
on the right side with the message and
Yeah,
they look like
that's
touch
true.
controls.
That's true. Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the best environment for this kind of game, but I am definitely willing to give it a try because it's a concept that
fun.
I enjoy.
There's like bits that look better than others though. It's weird. It's just like
This
a really
is a
early
very
trailer.
early build.
This is very early, yeah.
This is a very early build. By the way, there's a second trailer that leaked earlier this week, which probably is showing a more recent build. Not that it looks much better, because the quality of the video isn't that great either, but it
Oh,
shows
it looks a little bit
apparently,
better.
yeah, and apparently, according to Midori, the leaker,
Recently departed from
yeah,
X.
yeah, yes, apparently, but yeah, so the video is really not that great. It's like there's a lot of slowdown and stuff, but I'm guessing they were like recording this on the phone. Like, let's leak it to the internet. Oh, okay, I don't know, but it looks interesting. I'm actually very curious about how they will make this work, and if they're gonna make this just a mobile game or like I don't know.
Just to make it clear, like we don't have an official source for this yet, right? Like this
Yep.
is
That's
No,
so
so
far
apparently
just
the
leaks and
Sonic
rumors.
Show uploaded the first trailer, and
Yeah.
Shadow of a Hedgehog City, SOAH.com, I think, uploaded the second one.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the source is unknown.
Yeah. I mean, it seems credible, but at least I can say that, like, it very much looks like they are working on a game like that and like considering it, but like, who knows?
It looks quite far along.
Yeah.
Apparently it is. Yeah, apparently it is true. It probably has a summer release date. It seems maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I can see this
Right.
being the pitch. Like, hear me out. 100 Sonics drop onto an angel island.
I can see it be like a very fun game. Like I did like the Fall Guys series. Like you get together,
sure.
you have some like stupid fun, and
Yeah.
it's I definitely want to give this a try with people. Like I don't know if we can get together and play it. That would be awesome.
That would be nice.
To try it out. Like I don't know. Like
It's
I feel
like
like
a race,
I
right?
need
Like,
to
maybe
try
like
it to get a feel for it. Because right now I don't see enough to get a feel for what this really is. Honestly, like there's just like very quick shots of things, so I don't really get a sense of it really, personally.
Yeah.
And it also felt like at least the levels that got allegedly leaked, they all look like races, don't they? Because like the original Fall Guys got many mini games that are like one-on-one sports games, who scores the most wins. There's races, there's survival games, there's other varieties that are not coming up on to me right now. But if they can apply that kind of variety to the game, I think it's going to be great. Presuming the game really is going to be a thing, of course.
I mean, this would be a massive like ruse if it's not true. I don't know.
Maybe it's a pitch like the old Dragon Quest demo.
Could be.
This is what
Never
a
know.
Sonic Fall Guys could look like.
What if that's because that could be?
Is this linked to that new guy,
like,
by the way?
it could be believable for me. Like someone has worked on a pitch, really wants it to happen, and therefore kind of they are close, and then kind of, oops, a leak. Now it's out there. See, everybody likes it.
Everyone
Now you
wants
have
it.
to kind of say yes.
Good work.
You never
It made me
really
think of
know who's
That guy
behind
that
the.
Sega, the
Sorry?
guy that Sega's just hired, the Disney guy or whatever.
Okay.
As part of that article said about him having
yeah.
a rip-off Fall Guys type game.
Oh yeah,
Come to
yeah,
the
yeah.
SEGA Lounge.
Could be. He says like every time I look at his face, I think like that's a good guy. That's a good guy. Yeah.
You know
he should come
something that
really friendly. Yeah. Sorry.
He's doing
Sorry
some
to
good things.
interrupt, but I just wanted to say it before I forgot. It reminds me that there were massive layoffs on Mediatonic a few months ago, weren't there? I'm wondering if some of the original Fall Guys stuff are involved. I have no idea, but it would be interesting.
Could be. That's a good shout. Yeah, never know. We'll probably know soon enough, but for now it's just speculation.
Yes,
So
of
we'll
course.
see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's Sonic Toys Party. Good name? Maybe not, but okay. Maybe it'll make sense when it comes out.
Like so
and
far,
the
what does this have to
logo-
do with toys?
Maybe those are the toys. And the
Logos.
logo really looks like the Toy Story logo, right?
Story.
Ah, yeah,
It
it
does.
Yeah.
It really does. So maybe the guy who leaked this is one of the people like working on
Toy
this
Story.
pitch and like, hear me out. 100 Sonics drop onto an annual island.
You've got a friend in
See?
me.
You got a hedgehog in me.
Oh, maybe it's like
Song
in
by
Super
Crush
Smash
40.
Bros, where every character is actually like a trophy, really, and then they like become animated.
This is all
like
a simulation.
Here they are toys, and then
They're
become-
all in the Matrix.
yeah.
They all
makes
come
sense.
alive. No one's
Okay.
looking.
Last one before we move on to the tier list stuff. So apparently, and shout out to the Sonic Stadium. I saw this earlier today on Sonic Stadium, but we already had the VGC article on our outline, and they said this was mentioned by a Portuguese Nintendo fan site. No, my good people. No, this is a Brazilian website. And this guy is from a Brazilian website, and he not only did they post something on like their Nintendo News website about this, but he also tweeted this. Would you play this masterpiece? It doesn't say masterpiece, but this game remade on Unreal Engine 5. And people didn't believe him and like, yeah, sure, shut up. And then Midori, he tagged Midori, he thinks I'm kidding. And they say this is correct information, but there is not Sonic Adventure remakes right now. So there are no Sonic Adventure remakes right now. So apparently a Sonic Heroes remake is indeed being considered, right? Although later Midori also said that the Sonic Heroes remake is being considered, but I do not think the original source is correct about it being released in 2026 or 2027. Okay, so it's being considered probably
2025.
and probably hasn't started development yet.
Or even later.
So
maybe that's
It
like
hasn't started
35th
development.
anniversary.
I don't think so, and I do not know about this remake title being released in the next few years, and I don't have any information on that. So never know. You never know if it's true or not. My question to you guys is this something that you are eagerly awaiting?
I would play
not
it.
so much. It's not really my favorite Sonic game.
I
Probably one of
mean,
my least
yeah,
favorite.
it's probably not many people's favorite game. It's one of those. Sonic Heroes is one of those like black sheep in that sense that it's usually seen as one of the worst within its group, but the people who like it will defend it to their graves.
Indeed.
And
Yeah,
the thing
I've
is,
had that experience too.
and I mean, if it's a remake, there's the potential for them to iron out whatever issues people did not enjoy 20 years ago, and for them to be remade in a way that maybe would bring more people into the game. And I would honestly be up for it, because even though I never really finished it, I was bad at it, but I still had some fun. So I would definitely give it a go, because I still remember plenty of things from the original, so it would be interesting to compare it.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Shop.
It would be very interesting to see if they do this. I would be very curious to see how they go about it. And I think it could be a good start for remakes. Like if they gonna start doing remakes, and they're gonna start with the game, it feels like Sonic Heroes is a very safe game to start with, partly because it has, like, generally it's not really considered one of the better Sonic games, so it's more difficult to fail at a remake like that, and so then they can take all the lessons they made from remaking the game and then maybe move on to Sonic Adventure. What do I know?
Like people don't have high expectations anyway. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
So
indeed.
if you don't do a decent job, no one will care because the original wasn't really that great. Is that it?
Like, yeah, I mean, when you're making remakes, you will always compare it to the original, and if the original was not really considered that good anyway, it's difficult to screw it up.
Okay. Yeah. that's a
Possibly,
good
but
point.
then do you reckon people are expecting it to be better? And if it's the same game, just with a little coat of paint on, will that feel disappointing?
Yeah, if I think it would be considered a success if it's at least not worse than the original game. If it's the same, then the people who liked
it's
it
really hard
will
to-
still like it, I guess. And if
Yeah.
it's better, then more people will like it.
Would it be like
I-
similar to
yeah.
Colors? You know what I mean? Like Colors had like a weird momentum issue, I found,
Mhm.
in the
I
remake.
think Colors is better, like regarded, more well regarded than Heroes, to be honest. So
No, but I mean like compared to the Wii. So the Wii version
Oh.
and the new version, the Ultimate.
yeah,
Felt like the Ultimate felt weird to me. Like the momentum of Sonic was.
yeah. I to be honest, didn't really bother me that much. Like I know for some people, we talked about this on the show at the time. I think with Viper, maybe you, James, probably. But I don't know. I'm more forgiving, perhaps, but it wasn't really like 1-to-1, right? Wasn't really the
Yeah.
same thing. It felt a little bit differently. But if
Maybe
they
that's
do,
kind of like Lime's point. It wasn't worse,
okay,
so they didn't really screw it up.
yeah, I think, Sonic Heroes was the beginning of my disenchantment with the Sonic franchise. I would say, we came from the adventure games, and then Sonic Heroes was like, I was so excited for this, and then and I played the PS2 version, which I think is the worst of the three.
Oh yeah, right.
And it was buggy, and I did finish it actually. I don't know how, because I've tried to play it again later, like in recent years, and no, didn't want to do it anymore. But I finished it. Yeah, I 100% the game back in the day.
Oh, you did. Oh, you didn't just
did.
finish it. You 100%.
No, I 100%ed it.
Oh wow,
Yes.
you completed it.
Wow.
Yeah, I completed it, which is not something I do with many games these days, and really not 3D Sonic games either. But yeah,
It's one of your favorites then.
I
yes.
had less games to play at the time, and probably a little bit more time. Yeah.
Like, the question then, like, what would you prefer? Like, if we say Sonic Adventure, there are different stages depending on what character that you play as, and so that stage is definitely tailored to the character you're playing as. In Sonic Heroes, you play every
Team.
style at the same time.
Yeah.
And so there are sections of one stage that might be for a specific character, and then another section in the same stage that might be for a different character. Like, what would you prefer of the two? Would you prefer like one stage like tailored for one character? or
Yeah,
like a mix?
definitely. Yeah, call me old fashioned and
that
old
wouldn't
and
be
old.
Heroes at all.
Yeah. I think I see the merits of having, like, I see the merits and like the brilliance of the idea, right? The just genius thought process of, oh, let's just do this like amalgamation of styles, and you have a team
multiple
with
choice.
all-
You can use this character or this
Yeah.
character.
But
the gameplay mechanics are not uninteresting.
but the execution
Yeah, the
wasn't the best,
execution
right?
always
Very
matters.
buggy and probably rushed.
Sonic
Maybe.
06.
Oh yeah. But I think it's confirmed that it was rushed as well.
As per
I
usual.
prefer 06.
Especially the PS2 version, which apparently there were rumors, and this was by around the time that the Hidden Palace stream came around, right? I think it was at New Year's Eve. There were rumors that the game wasn't supposed to be on the PS2, but there was like an 11th-hour ultimatum from whoever, and they had to rush like a PS2 port like at the last minute. So that's why it's the. I mean, this is just hearsay. Just want to make it clear, but it kind of would make sense.
But it's true.
I also have like hearsay about Sonic Heroes, and the hearsay is like in the process they were rushed so much that if the quality assurance found something and that did not stop the player from actually progressing and finishing the stage, it's not considered a bug. Like you can finish the stage. So like don't
it's not
even
game breaking, so it's okay.
Yeah, so don't even
they take it from me. That's not as uncommon as you would think.
Yeah.
Yay.
I see.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay, corporate decisions. Yeah, money is the good stuff. I thought Sonic Heroes also went through extreme crunch by Izuka. Maybe. Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
There
I
there
mean,
is
Izuka
this,
finished it basically. Yeah.
yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Probably.
Right.
Says Scotty, by the way. Yeah. So this is a chance. Maybe this is a chance to right the wrongs. Will they make it? The track record says no, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I think.
I guess a positive is there's rumors of it now, and that dude says, but it's not going to be out for like 4 years. So how long do you need to spend on a remake? Do you know what I mean? The game's already made.
But
It's
if
gonna
the
be like
game
a
was not
AAA
that
budget
great,
remake.
Oh,
but if they're
like
fixing,
make no
If-
mistake, it's just about as much or even more than a brand new game.
Yeah, like there's a difference between remaster and remake. Like you can say that the game is already made, so that you don't need to resign anything for a remaster. But
That's
for a
not how it works
remake,
at all.
I figure that you need to redo the whole design. It's like you can't go with what you already have.
and
I
they'll
figured.
probably add some stuff, right? So maybe not just if it's not a remaster, maybe they can add new levels or maybe a new team or something with all the extra characters that they added to the franchise in recent
Right.
years. So
Sounds cool,
you
actually.
never know. You never
Say
know.
that.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm thinking it's going to play and look pretty much exactly the same as Heroes, but if they remake it from the ground up with new teams, the whole mechanics are improved. But the concept's there, maybe the stage design is the same.
So, but I'm saying this
work.
not to get your hopes up, okay? So, please don't fall into the Sonic cycle, please.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Like Lime's there. Yes. Okay, no, not the Sonic cycle. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, like the thing with Sonic Heroes for me that I felt from the very beginning is that I'm not. I don't really personally like playing as all three at the same time. It takes away something from me, and like if I'm going to try to explain that, is that if you're Tails in Sonic Adventure, you can like fly around freely, but in Sonic Heroes, since like everybody needs to come along with you, Tails is literally weighed down by the other characters, and so the feeling is completely different when you fly. It's like not as free, I guess. Like it's a completely different feeling to it, and I kind of prefer like the free flying Tails.
So this is a lesson. It's a life lesson there as well. So
Mm.
You should do everything
have
alone.
friends.
Don't have friends. They will weigh you down. That's the life lesson there. And on this note, thank you for listening to this week's SEGA Lounge episode. No, on that note, actually, let's move on, right? So these were the news. Let's see. We'll see what happens with Sonic Heroes. I'm sure we'll have more news on that, even if it's like just confirmation that it was just a rumor and not something they are really working on. Yeah, right. So thank you guys for helping with the news. Let's
Thank you.
get into the proper theme of the show, which was actually suggested by, or it came to me as like inspired by a nice little comment from a listener
dream.
that a comment from a listener that we got. So at Sonato Lover 94 says, "Dear KC, I'm a big fan and have been listening to the Sage Lunch for years now as I play Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Roblox. As I'm sure you can tell, I'm a huge SEGA fan. I was wondering how you and your guests would rank the most popular Suga franchises and why. Thanks in advance and keep up the great work on the SEGA Lounge." So, Sonato Lover 94, thank you very much for the kind words. You're obviously very much invested in the Sega, multiverse. And because of this, I thought to myself, we need to create a tier list for certain Sega series IPs. And that's what we're going to do today, right? For the rest of this show.
Awesome.
Right? And so how is this going to work? This, by the way, this is the definitive tier list. So there's no discussion here. No one else's opinion matters, right? So this is like
Other than ours.
Other than ours, yeah.
We've been chosen.
So, exactly. This is the definitive tier list. We've chosen a few IPs, and the rule, the basic set of rules was it had to be a series of games, so not just one title, but Sega series with more than one game, preferably with recent games in this series released, right? So not like one of those dormant IPs, many Sega dormant IPs. We've also added the 5 that are part of the new era stuff, right? So Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi. And then each one of us had the privilege to choose one other game or IP that really didn't fit the rules. Okay? And so we have 4 extra titles here as well to rank. This is the first episode where we'll do this. And what will happen is every time we have a new guest on our live shows, we'll ask that guest to like pitch in with their ranks as well. And at the end of the season, we'll look back at the whole tier list and we'll see what the definitive Sega IP tier list is for 2024. Yeah? Fair? No? I don't care. Let's do it. It is what it is. Okay, so these are the series we have here. We have 21, is it? I think it is. Yes, it's 21.
It's 21, yes, not
21,
20.
Yes. Not 20.
We're aiming
Don't
for
be
20.
salty, Lime. Don't be salty. I had forgotten about, I don't know, was it?
Oh, I forgot.
Was it? Samba
Samba.
de Amigo. Yeah, Samba de Amigo. So we had to add Samba de Amigo that fit the criteria here. So let's start with, by the way, criteria, rules here. I wouldn't say rules because you're obviously free to say whatever you wanted to rank these games and series however you want. But from my perspective, what would be fair? Quality of the games, which is subjective, of course. Success of the series in terms of sales, popularity as well, and the influence and like public awareness. How do people regard these series? Do they know them? Like general public or like the general Sega audience, right? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's
You
say
might
yes.
have to go through those three things again. So what was that? So we've got
Okay, so
sales,
sales,
perception,
right?
and quality of games.
Perception, quality of the games. Yeah, that's a good way of summing this up. Yeah.
I will
But
say,
that's what I'm going for. I'm gonna have like some hot takes here perhaps and go against even my own preferences based on those three criteria there. But Rav, what do you think? Want to say
I
something?
was saying that there was one thing I had in mind when I was preparing uh, my tiers earlier today, which is how groundbreaking this series were
Yeah,
or still are. But well,
I think
anyways,
that falls into like the
the perception.
perception, right?
Sometimes.
I think. But we'll see. Let's see. I think people are like demanding blood. So let's start with
Of
Sonic
course
the
they are.
Hedgehog, right? Let's start with Sonic the Hedgehog. So, thoughts? I don't want to go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go last if you don't mind.
No, I mind.
Well-
I'm the last one. I'm the host.
Okay,
I want to be a
let
good
me go
host.
first then. So
Yes.
Sonic, right?
Yes.
I'd like to say I'm a super fan of Sonic, and I'm a little bit more optimistic towards Sonic. Even the bad games, I try and find some good things out of them. The only ones I've really not enjoyed are Heroes, Sonic Boom, of course, but everything else I've kind of enjoyed. So for me, I know you were joking with an image prior to the showcase where like Sonic was quite low down. I don't know if that was legit or that was just you messing about. But I'm tempted to go for the A rank. So it's not S rank because there has been a few flops over the years. But for me, I'm generally quite happy with Sonic. Even like I say, even through the rough times, I love Sonic Lost World. So even these games that some people don't like, I found some sort of enjoyment out of them. And for the amazing games from back in the day, Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and gems along the way like Sonic R, and of course Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I think it can't be any lower than A rank.
Okay, makes sense. Lime.
Yeah. So, what does the Sonic fan that has dedicated his life to 100%ing all Sonic games on stream think about where to put Sonic the Hedgehog on this tier list?
F for fantastic.
Amazing.
So, my first thought here is like, okay, Persona, for example, as like I just earlier this stream said, like I could not imagine like a better game, like high quality game. That is S tier for me. Sonic is just not there, in my opinion, quality wise, at least. Well known, but not quality wise. So like I'm talking quality. And is it A? I would say, like, based on games that it has been, like some games might be, but for me they're just like other games. Like they are so many rushed games. There are so many games that are kind of a little blah, and where like I'm thinking about like Baldy McNose here kind of Sonic that just kind of no, like for those reasons where it doesn't feel like it doesn't even feel like, oh, I don't like it because it's made for children. It's just like, this is not good writing. This is not like a good concept. This is not like good direction. This is not good, whatever. And so I don't feel like get up to A rank for me. So is it B? It could be, yeah. But then there's the bugs.
Oh my god.
There's always something. Like even in Sonic Origins, I found myself like the games were already made. They just like had to redo them, and it's like I find myself being behind things, and it couldn't progress because like the thing that was supposed to like just be in the background and is just supposed to like run past, like that was somehow like stopping me now. And so like for the reason that they are also unfinished in the sense of there are many bugs, and I didn't even mention that the controls for me are kind of like not tight at all. Like that would bring it like down to B, like the controls for me, and then so
Okay.
the bugs actually brings it down to a C for me. I love Sonic overall, but when it comes to the quality, it's not in the same rank as Persona, like a Dragon. The quality isn't really there when it comes to like the controls or like or direction. And there are embarrassing bugs that it's just, come on, what are you doing? And so it kind of just unfortunately gets to a C for me for those reasons.
So that's your final rank? See?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would put it
Oh,
there.
really? So Ravsieg, what
Quality
did you go?
wise,
What did you go?
quality wise at least.
But okay.
Like,
There are other factors, right?
yeah, I get, yeah, indeed. Like it did it's extremely well known.
Okay.
It's extremely well known, and it did have like a huge impact on the whole game series. Like overall, I would not put it at a C then, I guess. Like quality, unfortunately, I would put it on a C. But overall, it's not a C for me. Then it would be, I would then like maybe put it on a B.
Okay. Okay. Oh my god, am I the only one who's going to say this? Okay.
I'm speechless, honestly.
I'm really speechless as well. Lime, you shocked me.
Yeah,
I would
I
say
like-
though, I would add my bias here. First of all, I 100% these things, and so when games
You
get
suffer more than we do, right?
yes, and so and also when games get more difficult, then the flaws in the design show a lot more clearly. It's like glaring in like it's like it's when you need the precision, then that's when you notice it isn't there. And
Yeah.
so I like, because I have those experiences with it and I see those flaws, I will be harsher at it. And I will also be harsher at it because I wanted to do so well. And it's even more frustrating when you can see what it could be and could have been, and it just isn't there when it comes to things like that. And so it comes from love in both places, because like I'm playing them, I'm 100%ing them, and that's an expression of love, and that's also why I see all of the flaws in
Yeah.
it as well.
Okay, I'm not questioning it. To be honest, I totally understand. I just thought you'd rank it higher.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I understand
that's because my rank, surprising or not, is S actually for Sonic.
Surprising. Yeah.
Yeah, so I put aside my bias a little bit. So definitely not in terms of like my enjoyment with the games recently, especially. I would probably rank it at around a B, perhaps A if I was being generous. But I think, like people were saying in the comments, Sonic is Sega, for better or worse. You can't argue with that. So Sonic is the single most recognizable video game character IP that Sega has. So for that alone, the weight of the franchise on the whole of Sega, again, for better or worse, is undeniable. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer that it should be an S, like my personal opinion. I think the quality actually weighs a little bit, right? But the weight of the popularity of the character, the public recognition, how important as well in a way it was in terms of like the platformer genre and stuff. I think puts it a little bit higher. And if we're considering all of Sega's IPs, or most of them, or some of them, I think Sonic deserves an S from my perspective. That said, right? I do understand what Lime is saying, and I do agree with, and I probably am harsher than, in terms of my own personal feelings. I'm not really harsh in public when we're like reviewing or talking about a new game. If I enjoy it a little bit, I'm happy. But it's not like I think about like Sonic Forces or Sonic 06 or Sonic Heroes, and I think, oh, that's a game I'd like to try again. I'd like to forget and experience for the first time ever again. No, I think that way about the first 2D Sonics. I think that about Sonic Mania. I even enjoyed Sonic Superstars, right? Sonic Frontiers is a good game, I think. But there's a lot of in-between stuff that makes me feel kind of meh about Sonic.
Yeah, it definitely depends on what game you're talking about. Indeed, like it's definitely different qualities. Indeed.
But as Lewis says, the deviant art. But can you see the deviant art? Yeah. So my rank is S. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on and on about this. I think all your arguments, both of your arguments are sound. So Rav, what do you say? What say you?
I'm gonna start this off by saying that I know that my sense of humor can be corrosive and very snide at times, but that's mostly just banter, because usually I am very much a glass half full kind of person. I do look at the good side of pretty much everything. And this tier list is no exception. I feel like, judging from what I've just heard, especially, I feel like I am going to inflate every single franchise's score a lot. And starting with Sonic, I mean, I'm with you. It's like a clear S. There is no way around that. Because SD already said it, and you've said it, that Sega is Sonic and Sonic is Sega. Well, you stole that out of my scribbles from earlier today. So you stole my thunder. I mean, for millions of people around the world, especially in the West, that is the case, isn't it? I mean, and for very good reason, because the Mega Drive games, the trilogy, the quality and their popularity set the foundation for that. And the thing is, despite some hiccups, 30 years later, the Sonic the Hedgehog brand continues to has stayed like relatively unblemished. Like, it's still a very highly regarded brand after all this time, and that speaks volumes. I mean, I am aware that there might be a few annoying situations gameplay wise in the last or in the last few games for the last few years, but for me that's very far from being a factor when it comes to to passing this judgment, because I mean, literally all of us here, and definitely everyone listening to us, and many others in the world will have great memories from the Sonic games that they hold really dearly. And regardless of whether it's from the Mega Drive trilogy, the Sonic CD game, or the adventure games, or even the modern ones, which aren't as highly regarded, but I mean,
For some, they are.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors. I mean, with all due respect to all the other amazing IPs that Sega has developed through the years, I am not sure what else would be an S if not Sonic. Well,
I am.
that's my
Okay.
take.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so if everyone is everyone gonna maintain their answer? So we have an S, an A, a B, and an S.
I'm not gonna maintain my answer.
Okay.
I'll stick with
I'm gonna raise one. I kind of want to raise mine like one step at least. When it comes to quality, I might have been a little too harsh, giving it a C. I really can't forgive it for being so many games for being so unfinished as they are, and I might be the only one seeing that, especially since I take on the hardest challenges. But yeah, it's good quality. It's not a C. I'm gonna raise it to a B. And then
you said a B. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Quality wise,
Okay.
and then it's overall, you're making many great points. Sonic is Sega, so when it comes to it being well known, then that is definitely an A, an S. Sorry, that's definitely an S. Like, what else would be an S when it comes to that, other than Sonic? So in the middle there, an A.
Okay.
I feel like I should have been a politician.
Between a B and an S. That would be an A.
SAAS.
Yeah.
Lime for president or prime minister, whatever. King.
How did we get to that?
Rav said you could have been a politician.
No, I said I could have been a politician.
Oh, you could have been a politician. Okay. So, yeah, Rav for king. Don't forget handheld Sonic, says Lewis as well on the chat. Yeah. I think this is. I mean, is this a 2 S's and an A? Is this like an A plus? So we have to decide.
Did Lime go in the end? Did Lime go for an A in the end?
Yeah, 2 S's and an A.
2 A's and 2
S's. 2 A's and an S. Or did 2 S's? No, 2 S's and 2 A's. That's yeah. That's how it is. So A plus, top A. What say you guys? What say you? Where?
You can't ask me because, again, I'm a glass half full guy. I would have put it on S based on rounding it up,
I would round it up here, but
you can't give it an S when it's when so many games are just so unfinished and so embarrassingly buggy. I don't see it being an S.
That's my answer then. That's my answer. Okay. Excellent. That's it. That's it
Maybe
for
we
Sonic
need
the Hedgehog.
3 S's.
That's we will have more guests weighing in on this, so maybe they'll make it go down. We'll see. So that's it for Sonic the Hedgehog is closed. That's it. Comments down below.
I was just getting fiery about it.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Next up, Like a Dragon, and I can go first with this one. So,
okay.
I think it's an S. At this point, I think, speaking of being a glass half full, I don't think this is anything less than an S for Sega at this point. I think Like a Dragon, and here, if we're gonna go with the quality side of things, the quality factor, the quality is pretty good. I'm hard pressed to think about any issues that I had with any of the Like a Dragon / Yakuza games. It's more of like a matter of liking them or not than them being not good games, right? Or if I'm making myself clear here or not, but it's like it's a matter of preference. You may not like the style of the game, like you may not like like a turn-based RPG or an action RPG, or the craziness of it all, or the story, or whatever, or like the setting, but they are objectively, I think, good games, pretty good games, some of the best that Sega have been doing for a while. And the growing popularity of the Like a Dragon games is undeniable as well, not just in Japan, but in the West, which makes me give it an S. Thank you very much.
Well done, Casey. So I went for an A on this just because I feel like, I don't want to say it's an overrated series at the moment, but if you go back to when it first started, so Yakuza 1 on the PS2, it's pretty bad, I think. Going off of Shenmue, you played Shenmue 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast, and then PS2 is meant to be this better system, and then you start to play Yakuza, and the graphics are worse.
Wait, who said that?
Fully voiced.
Who said the PS2 is better than the Dreamcast?
Well, it's supposed to be a
It's got a
slightly
DVD
technically
drive.
more advanced console of sorts. If anyone that isn't a fan of the Dreamcast would probably argue that anyway. To us, it's a Dreamcast stand, isn't it? But I just never got on with the original Yakuza on the PS2 or Yakuza 2 on the PS2. And to be fair, it didn't really go anywhere until Yakuza 0, right? Especially in the West. I know it was popular in Japan, but if we're talking about sales have only just sort of kicked in post Yakuza 0. So up until then, Sega were even like worried. Remember when they were releasing Yakuza 5 and it was like a digital only title, and it was like they weren't really throwing the marketing at it as such. It was like, oh, what do we do with this? It was getting a bit on the decline. And then Japan, when they developed Yakuza 0, gave it a new lease of life, especially in the West. So I feel like you can't call it an S rank because of the history it's had. Now it's probably is an S rank if you're talking like the post Yakuza 0, because everyone loves it. So much so it's a little bit annoying, to be honest, as a Shenmue fan. And this is what Lewis is saying. You know what I mean? He would dock a point for Yakuza just to be spiteful for the amount of titles, especially. It's probably been, didn't we count once, Casey? And there was like 11. Well, there's probably more Yakuza games than 11 these days, because you've got like the Dead Souls one. You've got
like
it's just like, insane. Into two
historical ones and like the 2 PSP ones. Yeah, probably at this point. More than 11, like 13 or something.
But then you can't deny that each time they are quality, aren't they? Like you were saying, despite them releasing 3 in a year, they all happen to be great games. So it's difficult, but I feel like I can't go above A on the Yakuza series. As a Shenmue fan, slightly annoying as a series. And the pre-Yakuza 0, I don't think it was a hit for Sega as such. It was just one of those games that you're just continuing to work on. And it's kind of like, it was especially easy back then for them because they were just reusing a lot of the assets, and maybe this falls into the remake territory that we were on about earlier, where if you remake a full game, it's hard work. It's not like it's a simple remake, a remaster. So I know like Yakuza 1 and 2 on the PS2, and then they kind of did do a new engine for 3, I believe, because they had to make it for the PS3. But each time it's been the exact same city, exact same locations. So in a sense. Well,
Go play the
it
game.
has for the most part, right?
No, not at all.
Like
You have
Kamurocho.
Kamurocho is one of the cities. You have Sotenbori. You have Yokohama
I
now.
understand
you have,
that,
yeah.
but
right? And they're
you've
all
literally
very big.
got
But
Kamurocho
I
in
don't want
every
to
game,
take
though.
away from your opinion. Sorry.
But
'Cause I
you're
do
wrong.
see where you're
I
coming
do
from.
get that because like Yakuza 6 is my favorite because it goes to that port town. It just feels very much Shenmue at that point. But I feel like I'm always in Kamurocho for at least half of every game, and that was like kind of my point that they've reused the same layout, and I know it's sort of develops over time because there is like an ongoing time period, modern day. So like shops shut down, things get replaced. You know, the city gets more modern as the years go on, and that's very much evident in Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, where you know that you actually start the game in the past, and then it brings it up to the modern day, and there's such a big change in like, people on the streets walking around with cell phones and stuff. So I like that detail, but again, I feel like I'm always in Kamurocho in these games, and that is kind of the copy and paste point that I was trying to make. A lot of the games can be cranked out easy because they've already got the architecture and whatever they need to put into the game
That's an
already
interesting
developed
point.
since the first game.
I would
Or A rank.
not agree with that point. I don't mind the rank. I just I think there is more to it than Kamurocho, but I do understand the point of view. But yeah. Anyway, A, right? Okay. Ravsieg.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's an S. I mean, it started out pretty rough, like in a time where Western companies weren't confident that those very Japanese games would do well over in the West, and well, that was for a reason. I still defend that it was the right approach by then, actually, to hire like famous people for the voiceovers and to change the narrative so that it would be a bit darker. Because back in the day, uh, there weren't all that many otakus around, were there? I feel like those of us who appreciate Japanese culture to the degree that is necessary to enjoy Yakuza Like a Dragon games as they are has exponentially grown in the last few years as internet became more mainstream and stuff. I digress.
Maybe
I'm
also
happy.
the localization then didn't help, right? So right now they are well localized. So even if you're not really familiar with all that stuff, it's better.
I feel like
It's
people
I
are more
feel
open to
like
that now, though, aren't they?
it's not just like the people. The culture is more accessible to the people, but also the way the games are localized helps. I
Yeah, I see what you
feel.
mean.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
I
think
see what you mean.
in the beginning it wasn't the case. I think.
Yeah, and that's fair because that's the exact same with Virtual on Mars. By the way, the English localization, I still maintain that it killed Virtual on in the West because it was the bluntest translation I've ever seen. Whilst the Japanese story was actually very interesting. But going back to Yakuza, that there was that situation, and there was also the way they were localized. I'm honestly happy that they started keeping their essence because we can see the game shining now, the series shine. I'm Well, to be honest, I'm not even the game's biggest fan. Like, I've never really clicked with the fight mechanics from the first 7 games, the mainline games, like 0 from 6. But I really enjoyed 7 a lot. The quirks and the jokes. Everything was really well made, and the mini games as well. And the reality is that, Atlus aside, Like a Dragon is kind of the Sega's flag bearer now. It carries the brand forward, whether we like it or not. in a way that neither Sonic nor any other franchise does nowadays. It's consistently in the in top 10 best-selling games, like and 8 Infinite Wealth had tough competition. It came out on the exact same day as Tekken 8, for example, and it was still one of the best sellers for a while. It's consistently discussed by thousands of people in the internet, and it's almost always positive impressions. There's a near consensus in which, from journalists, in which reviews are great, and yeah, there's not a lot more to
Yeah.
say.
Okay. So that's an
It is
S
up there.
for
Yeah,
you,
it is.
right? Okay. Lime.
I'm in between S and A. I came into this going like, Yakuza is like an S, definitely. Is it?
Yes.
That's the question.
It might be like when it comes to like how influential it has been, or like how well known it is. I don't know about that. I really have no information about whether it's been influential or whether it is well known. I know about it, but like I wouldn't know about any of those things. The only thing that I know is that Yakuza has made me laugh, made me cry my eyes out, made me go, what the actual F is going on right here? And I love it. Gameplay is absolutely awesome. So like, I would definitely went into going it like, I definitely went into this going, this is an S. What would bring it down for me might be that there are just some side quests that I don't at all care about, and I just found myself forced into doing things like managing companies. Like, oh yay, yippee! Oh, how fun! Oh, I need to learn this. Oh, like I need to read like a manual now in the middle of the game and learn something completely new. I don't want to do this. And the game is like, yes, do this.
Apologize to the shareholders.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Don't play Infinite Wealth then.
then it's like, no, I just want to continue with the game. I don't have the energy to learn something new right now. That has been frustrating. For someone like me. That's just personal, though. So I'm in between an S and an A, and like for the last reason, I guess it would be an A plus.
Okay. No pluses or minuses. So it's an A.
An
right?
A plus, Casey.
Okay. I'll put my like a picture of myself doing this.
Okay, A minus.
Fine.
A minus. Okay, so it's leveled up.
Yeah.
Okay, so A.
I might change my mind, but it's
So-
just like for me, it could be better at introducing things, or like if you're gonna add stuff, making them then optional. I'm not sure if that actually takes it down, but I'm gonna have it on an A right now.
I just want to mention something very briefly going forward, because we obviously can't, and I think as we progress we will not spend so much time on these all of them, but do we have any S tier games here series? So because
For me, yeah.
one thing that I considered was like the overall tier list, right? So which games do we there should be, I think, some S quality or S type games,
Yes.
right? We'll get there, but right. So I mean, if we're not considering some of these like S's or A's, what are we putting up there, right? So that's just a comment that I wanted to leave here for consideration. So I think all things considered, SAAS. So it's up to the level of Sonic the Hedgehog with an A.
but maybe
Yeah, that doesn't feel
ahead of
right.
Sonic.
I
Because
know
I
what
don't
you're
know.
saying.
I don't know.
Right.
Lime made
SAAS.
a point of saying it was an A+. So
And
they-
Jim said it's an A minus for him. So.
okay, so
But Like a Dragon, I mean, I would be tempted now after you said that to put Sonic as S. Just because.
Okay, so I'll ask. I have a suggestion. We'll keep going, and at the end, we'll look at everything and see if we have any adjustments to make.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Right?
Like
I
I,
am-
have
all
one right here.
things
I
considered.
don't think that they belong in the same tier, like at all.
But you gave them the
That's-
same rank. I do think they belong in the same tier. But okay, so
I am
moving on.
scared to hear
Persona.
what you guys are going to say about
Persona.
my favorites.
Okay,
Well,
Rav,
let
would
me
you
go
like to
quick
start
with
with this
Persona
one?
then,
Oh,
because
okay, James. Yeah.
I've not really played them. So I played 20 hours of 5, and I really enjoyed it. It was a game that I did want to continue, but the daunting aspect of it being 100 plus or potentially 100 plus hour game, I didn't want to spend like the next 5 years of my life dedicating to one game. So for that reason, just because I'm not too familiar with the series, but I do get the quality.
Let me just tell you something. I will not rank series that I'm not comfortable ranking. So if you don't feel like comfortable giving it a rank, you don't need to.
I mean, perception wise, I know it's a great game. Everyone says it's an amazing series. Rav, Lime, UKC, all saying amazing things about it. Lewis in the chat loves Persona 3. I loved what I played of Persona 5. I know a lot of people like Persona 4. I just think on the success and the quality, and like I say, the perception that I have of this series, it feels like an A rank game to me, A rank series. So if you want to put it in as an A from me, you can do, or you can exclude me because I've only played one game. What do you think?
Up to you.
Well, I
If you feel
would go
comfortable
from
giving
an
it
A.
a
I would
rank?
go for an A.
Okay. Makes sense. Rav.
It's an hat trick of S's for me. I mean, this is yet another very Japanese title that's been drawing tons of plaudits from all over the West lately. I mean, and it might be for the same reason that I mentioned before, which is that there are a lot more otakus than there were 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago, it was like a cult classic, like a cult hit on the PS2. And it rose from there to be one of the most acclaimed RPGs in the world. And even so, even when they experiment with other genres like the Muso game Strikers and the dancing games, they are rhythm games, right? And then there's the tactical one Tattica, and there's a fighting game which is Persona 4 Arena, I think. Like every time they try those spin-offs, everyone always seems to enjoy them, even those that are actual hardcore fans of that specific genre or subgenre. So there's not anything negative to say, is there? I mean, the RPG genre is one of the largest in the world. I think we all know that. And Persona 5 was considered the best of 2016 and one of the best ever.
Yeah.
With a lot of hard competition. And this renaissance we all know that the older games are being remade and being brought back to a global audience nowadays that wasn't there to appreciate it 20 years ago. And it's been selling, well, we now know that it's 22 million copies, isn't it?
Yep. It is very popular.
It is massive, and there is really no negative to point at it, I believe. Even if there's any negative, it's minor. It feels like a series that everyone agrees that is one of
Like
the
flagships.
the largest IPs nowadays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's an S for Rav. Lime.
I promise this is gonna change soon, by the way, this flurry of S's.
Lime.
We're talking about Persona.
Yeah.
and I would give it a definite S. I would I see it like having all of the good things that Like a Dragon has, minus the uh, irritating things that that I mentioned about Like a Dragon. So it would definitely be, for that reason, a higher tier for me. So S.
Okay, this is interesting because I would rank it an A. Being completely objective here, I don't think it's on par with Like a Dragon in terms of like the overall Sega, right? Also, it's Atlas, but not considering even that. Casey is dead to me, says Lewis. Thank you, Lewis. Friendships will be lost tonight. I think it's massive in the circle of like JRPG fans, in the circle of turn-based RPG fans, which is expanding, granted, to include even myself these days, which is surprising. But I don't think it's up there with Sonic. And I mean, in terms of my own perception, it's not up there with Sonic and Like a Dragon in what it represents to Sega today. So that's the only reason. That's the only reason I give it an A. I think quality-wise, yeah, it's up there. I think it really is popular. Like Rav was saying, like 22 million copies sold. It's just amazing. I don't see it yet as on par with the other two IPs we've discussed so far. But I do understand the S ranks from you guys. So no objections here. I'm just trying to be a little bit more impartial. Not that you're not. I'm like just justifying my ranks.
More
here.
impartial than you are.
No. I'm saying I'm trying to be with my ranks, not like consider what I feel about the games or only that, but mostly the overall tier list and where these series should be. But I think an S is more than fair as well.
Yeah. We are giving also like different weights to different things. Also, like depending on the game. Like for the last two, I've only been able to talk about like what I felt about the game, like quality wise, and so like that's really the only thing I can judge. And then after that, Casey focuses on like it doesn't like feel like Sega, like it's not as like a well-known like Sega the property really. And that's a completely different thing. So like we are kind of like ranking it Atlas, a little bit differently.
Probably triple S if we're talking Atlas franchises, only Atlas games, right? But we're considering Sega as a whole, and I think it's not up there. That's the only reason. Lewis says in chat, I will say, I do think Persona isn't for everyone. Persona 5 is definitely more accessible to a general audience, but it is very dense and visual novel influenced after all. That's my reasoning here. I think Sonic the Hedgehog is mainstream. Like a Dragon, even if it's not completely mainstream, is more accessible to a wider audience, I feel, than Persona.
I'm not 100%
That's
sure
my perception, at least. And that's my reasoning here.
I think there's more gameplay elements to like a Dragon, whereas like Persona is like, if you like this style of game, you will like this game. If you don't like turn-based RPGs, probably isn't much in here. But like a Dragon,
there still is a lot of stuff outside turn-based RPGs.
That's true. But like the meat of the game, like the combat, right?
I mean,
there's the relationship thing, and there are other, like Ravsieg was saying, there are many crossovers, but like spin-offs.
Yeah.
And there's a whole different like genre of like fighting games, dancing games, rhythm games. But if we're considering like the mainline games, like a Dragon, even if considering Infinite Wealth, which is, I would say, one of my favorite games of all time. Infinite Wealth is that good. Is really, and I'm not. I keep saying this, but I guess I am now a big turn-based RPG fan. But it is great, and what they do with that, and all the other things you can do, apart from like having turn-based battles, that puts it in a more accessible light to me when considered to the mainline Persona games. I'm just trying to explain my reasoning for not giving it an S, because I feel like I'm attacking Persona, and I do really think they're really good games.
Yeah, I do.
They
kind of agree.
they are both turn based. They are at least when it comes to Yakuza 7
An 8,
like
yeah.
and 8. Tell me again, like what makes Persona less accessible? Because like they are kind of similar when it comes to gameplay and stuff.
Not really. I think like the gameplay, Persona 5 probably is a little bit more accessible in every respect, but Like a Dragon has a lot of variety. It's more open world as well.
Like you have the
You have a lot of
relationship
sides.
system still, right? Like as
It
you do
also
in
has
Persona,
that
like
in a
yeah.
in a way. Yeah,
And that affects the combat as well. It's like there
True,
are very
true.
similarities there, I feel.
True. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. But considering that we have 2 A's and 2 S's, so I guess we know where this ranks, right?
Oh,
Yeah?
For now, yeah.
For now?
For now, yeah,
Okay.
we'll see.
For
where we
now,
stand.
yeah.
Okay. Puyo. Who wants to go first?
I can go quick if you want on this one. I'll go
sure.
with a D on this one because. but see, this was the thing. I was going through all the games listed here, and I've got favorites. I've got games that I could take or leave, and Puyo Puyo is a game that I could take or leave. It's not one that I'm rushing out to the store to buy the next game. You know, this Apple Arcade. It's added to my list. But it's not something I would have personally rushed out and forked £40 on to play. I'm more likely to buy one of those cool Puyo Puyo cushions that I've seen than the actual games themselves, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
I enjoy the game when I'm playing it, but I don't know. It's just not. It's not a series for me that I'm truly in love with. And so, because of how I've ranked my games on that sort of thing, unfortunately, it falls into a D for me.
Boo, Puyo
If
Puyo,
there was no
boo.
Puyo Puyo in the world, it wouldn't really bother me, I don't think.
Oh my god.
I mean, we
Puyo Puyo
really
could
have
die.
different sets of standards, because for me a D would be reserved to absolute shite.
Really? See, I was thinking a D wasn't too bad.
I would say D is a bad grade. I think I would consider that. Yeah, but I don't know. I actually really quickly I gave it a B.
A B.
Personal feelings aside, I would give it a B. It's not really for me in terms of, as I said, I'm not good at it. I do enjoy it. I've enjoyed playing it with people at some point, but I can't justify it to myself to invest time and like brain power to learn those mechanics and stuff. I appreciate people who can and who are amazing at playing like all those chain things and stuff, but it's not for me. That said, I think it's popular, very popular amongst a specific crowd of puzzle players. It probably, I think, all things considered, Puyo Puyo probably perfected the Tetris mechanic and improved it in a lot of ways. So like prior to Puyo Puyo, I think Tetris was like the king of like puzzle games. For me, in a way, still is, because it's very simple. It's nice for my very simple-minded person. But Puyo Puyo, I think, took Tetris and, pushed it forward and made it even more interesting. So for all of that combined, I think it's a B. It's just not. And considering I had all of these, or at least two of these other IPs as an S, I would put this like 2 steps below the others as a B, but not
See,
not a D.
The more opinions I hear on this stuff, like I'm not a tier guy person. Like, this is the first tier list I'm making, so I'm thinking I'm going to use all of the rankings for the games that we've chosen. So going off what you were saying, that if Sonic and Like a Dragon were putting at A, what is considered an S rank game? So out of these games, what are you considering lower than a B? If Puyo Puyo is your B rank, like, out of these games, are we going to rank any of these any lower?
I have lower
Oh.
than B. Yes, I don't have any Ds. Just spoiler alert. I don't think
Same.
any of these is bad, and I consider
Same.
D to be bad. I thought
I'll
D
change
would be
mine to
bad.
a C,
Okay.
because of like your guys ranking D as like absolute garbage, whereas I was just using the ranks because I felt like we should.
Oh, there should be. Okay.
Yeah.
I think D is considered bad, I think, right? I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, so we have a B and a C. Lime.
I'm having difficulty judging this one. Like, I've played it. I don't know how influential it has been, or like how much it has been selling. So like, I wouldn't be able to judge that. I don't feel like I'm not able to judge the quality either. Like, how do you judge the quality of a game like that? So like, I feel like I can only lean back on my personal like feelings about it. And so my question would be, what's the rank for just absolutely indifferent?
No rank at all.
None.
No rank at all. If you don't feel comfortable, I'm going to do that with at least one of these. So
I mean, I do feel comfortable. It's just like my rank will be like, I don't really have any feelings about it, what one or the other.
I wouldn't rank it if you don't feel
Yeah,
like you have
honestly,
any.
my personal opinion is that it would be ideal for it not to be weighing on the other ranks in that case.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
I
with
would
that.
argue that B, which is in the middle, would be a rank like that. Like, it's not good, it's not bad. It's just like, yeah. So
I think
like,
B is good.
like, you don't really have any feelings about it, like good or bad, and so it's in the middle. Like, I will argue that that's a
Okay.
B.
It's up to you. Think about it. Think about it. Let's hear Rav, maybe.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, yeah, I mean, sure. If go for it, if you're still finishing your train of thought, though.
Let me put it at a B then. Like, with that motivation, like, it's like, it's not
it's a
like
good game.
Imagine Rav wants to give it an S. If you don't
Yeah, like-
rank it anything,
No, like,
it'll be higher than if you rank it a B, and it'll push it lower.
It's a game. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's like it doesn't like speak to me particularly. I can't really judge the quality of it. So yeah, I would, for those reasons, put myself just square in the middle, which is B.
Okay, fair enough. Rav.
This was a bit of a tricky one to judge, because there is a distinct possibility that I'm not giving Puyo enough credit. But I feel like it falls considerably short of the 3 franchises that we discussed before. I mean, it's an interesting puzzle game. Like, it's extremely competitive, and the strategy is. I mean, it does require some brain cells, if to actually do it properly. It is high level. It is something that people should take seriously as like a brain challenge. Um, it's got Sega's trademark, like, bright and cheerful colors. I mean, the Puyo games have always nailed the audio visuals. Like, they are extremely enticing. Like, graphics are beautiful and colors are amazing. The music is really good. Uh, it's been very successful within the puzzle genre. The thing is that it it it's not really a huge genre, is it? And it's never really felt like it was that groundbreaking. I mean, it innovated in some aspects, but before we had Puyo, we had other similar puzzle games. Like, Tetris was the first one, the pieces falling down from the top onto like an inverted rectangle, right? There was Columns. There was I'm not sure if it came before or after Puyo. I'm sorry about it, but there was like Pack Attack and Clacks and others of the sort. Um, so it doesn't feel like Puyo was that groundbreaking. I mean, it's really good. It just doesn't feel like it transcends uh, the genre like the previous ones. So with all that being said, it's a B.
Okay, fair enough. Mado Monogatari, which is the original Puyo series, the first game I think came out in 89 or 90.
Okay, in that case, it's about
so
the
it's
same age as Columns.
Probably maybe the same, like contemporary. I think I don't remember what year did Columns come out. I don't know. No, we can check. Anyway, it just a detail. 89. 89, yeah, for the arcades. So yeah, probably same year, maybe. Who knows what came first? I don't know, the chicken or the egg. I don't know. I do know we have 2 B's and a C. Which
What are you ranking, Casey?
I give it a B already? I
Yeah,
think so.
you were
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
You're just really saying
I went
two B's
after
and
you.
C.
Yeah. Oh, 2 B's and 2 C's. Sorry, 2 B's and 2 C's.
Okay.
That's
It's
what I
free.
meant. Yeah, sorry.
Isn't it 3 B's and 1 C?
I think it is.
No.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Oh, you gave it a B. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right.
You mean
3 B's and
B?
1
Yes,
C.
it
So
was
it's
a
a
B.
B.
Yes.
It's a B then. Okay. There was a C. So it's like this, right? It's right below Sonic. I mean, I don't think what we said is I don't think the arguments presented here. Okay, but we'll see in the end. Okay, let's move on. Let's pick up the pace here. Virtua Fighter. And so I'm going to start with Ref for this one.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You know, I was torn here at the start because I felt like giving an S would be maybe a personal preference thing rather than an objective appreciation of the series, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm giving it an S anyway.
Nice. Okay.
Because, and you know why though?
Please
And you know that
please
no, but
enlighten us.
there is actually a reason for this. It's not just me giving an S to a series that I like. It's because Virtua Fighter, more than any other Sega IP, is like a representation of the time in video game history
Mhm.
when Sega was at the pinnacle. Like, it was technologically above the entire competition, like the cream of the crop, the pinnacle. When it came to video game development, groundbreaking graphical and processing systems, like Virtua Fighter, especially 1 and 2, but also 3 a bit, they were the biggest and the best. Again, technologically speaking, by far the best thing of their time, and it grew like a legendary status back then based on that. Um, it deserves to be cherished and appreciated, honestly. And it's sad that it's not the case here in the West. The thing is that it really still is a massive deal in Japan. So if you go on YouTube, you can easily find videos from the 90s of mainstream TV channels showing Virtua Fighter tournaments with hundreds of people watching in the 90s. And there's reports all over the internet from people who were in Japan in the 90s, and the arcades were filled with Virtua Fighter. That was their number one game, and it was the highest grossing arcade series for all the years in which those games were released. I mean, it's sad that it started losing ground to Tekken when the PlayStation killed the Saturn. I've always felt like it was more of a console wars thing than an actual game quality thing. I mean, Tekken won against Virtua Fighter in the West because the PlayStation won against the Saturn, not because it wasn't better, because in my opinion, it was. And it's really sad that it's been neglected in the West to such an extreme extent that younger gamers just rewrite history on social media, saying stuff that other 3D fighters were Tekken's rivals when they were nowhere ever even close to Virtua Fighter's level of sales and reputation. They've really been neglecting it a lot. I am very hopefully that it changes in the near future. If there really is a new Virtua Fighter game coming out soon, I really hope that the Sega's brand strategy involves putting some focus into showing us Westerners just how huge of a deal it was in the 90s in Japan, with the first 3 games, all of them being at the top, like the most advanced games of their times. And I guess I'm gonna find that out soon enough, right? Was this passionate enough?
This was really, really passionate. And
Thank you.
if you guys don't mind, I'll give my rank now, because everything that Rav said, I subscribe entirely. And I think I couldn't justify my rank better. It's a B. Because of all of that he said.
Fair enough. No, I understand
The
what you
fact
mean.
that it's
We just-
neglected, it
Yeah.
brings it down to a B, right? So personal preference aside,
in the West, you
in
go
the
to Japan
West,
and
in
you'll
the
see.
West, yeah, that's it. I give it the same in my head. It's the same as Puyo Puyo. There's a very passionate following in Japan amongst the public that it's aimed at. In the West, not so much. I do feel like Puyo Puyo, however, probably, sadly, is I think Sega consider it a little bit highly or higher than Virtua Fighter in the West, because we still get the occasional Puyo game here, like the Apple Arcade one, like the Puyo Tetris crossovers. And Virtua Fighter, apart from Final Showdown, which was nice, right? It's something. But apart from that, we don't really get where's the Virtua Fighter 6? Where's like even that
I mean,
the re-release of 3TB Online, right?
I
don't know.
understand why they'd want to risk a new game though, because the Virtua Fighter brand was always associated with innovation, and there's really not a lot to innovate anymore these days. So it's
make it better
it's-
looking. Like there's a new Tekken, there's a new Street Fighter, there's
that's
like
not really innovation, is it? But
no,
anyways,
but do you need innovation?
I mean, that's what the brand is known for.
I think, personally, the next game, if there is going to be a next game in the series, I think that's probably the make or break, because I don't know if you could gauge the success from Final Showdown in terms of how well the series is going to go moving forward. If they release 6, Virtua Fighter 6, everyone goes nuts, then maybe it could sort of claw back some of the history it had. But like Rav was saying, you ask any kid at school, like, name 3 fighting games, they probably wouldn't even say Virtua Fighter. It's not one of the most recognizable series these days, which is a shame, considering how groundbreaking the first game was. Like the first 3D fighter, Yu Suzuki's a god. I'll just throw that in there. So
just in preparation.
I originally put B down for Virtua Fighter, but again, I'm going off like my ranking system of where I place these games, and maybe I'll stay with B for Virtua Fighter, just on that fact that we don't really know where it is at the moment. I feel like not so much like where's the next game, but like where is the community that's going to jump at this like they would for the Tekken community, a different fighting game community. I feel like of Street Fighter, like these big ones. I feel like Virtua Fighter, depending on the next game, I think we'll really know where Virtua Fighter is in terms of success. I think moving forth. I mean, it's had its heyday back in the day when it was like the most successful fighting game, but these days Sega have kind of let it die a little bit, which is a shame.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people online discovering Virtua Fighter because of the Like a Dragon games, and that can be said for other arcade games that are in Like a Dragon, but it's really sad, right? It shouldn't be like that, right? It should stand on its own. Yeah. Okay, Lime. What's your take?
I'm gonna leave myself out of this one. I have only played the game like a very long time ago, a few times at a friend's house, and I don't feel that's enough to make any kind of judgment about it.
Fair enough. So this is tricky. BBS. What is it?
Put it in A then, don't you? I think.
Yeah. Is it the average? Does it belong here?
Yeah, but put it near the last one, so the other ones aren't higher. And depending on how this goes, we can
at the end
move some of the others to S and leave this here.
Okay.
Things are gonna move around a lot, I feel.
Few games moving.
I'm regretting this already. Okay. Coming up next. Not controversial at all, I'm sure. Shenmue.
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yes.
Like, question.
Yes.
But what do you view the tiers as? Because like there are very many different ways to view those. I'm kind of starting to view them as like S, oh, very good. A, good. B, not good nor bad. C, bad. D, very bad. Like,
no,
but
I wasn't like that.
No, I would say D is bad. C, average. B, good. Okay. A, very good. S, amazing.
Oh, okay.
But that's just quality. I'm just seeing like where I would. So if you're talking about popularity, not popular at all, average popularity, decent, good, very extremely good, very popular, right? So I don't know. I've never done one of these before. Rev has, so maybe I'm not viewing this the right way. I don't know.
I mean, it really depends on your perspective.
I mean,
I am a glass half full person, but maybe others aren't.
I would put D as bad, as like the if something isn't really, because it's the last one, right? So D is for the stuff that please don't touch it with a 10-foot pole or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, I didn't describe D that bad. Looking at the list, maybe it's the color. Maybe it's like green is good and red is stop.
Should have changed the colors then. Should have changed the colors. So S is bad and D is good. That's what we're saying now. So yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog is meh. Yeah, Puyo Puyo is better than Sonic and Like a Dragon. It's inverted. Yeah, that's what we're
But
saying.
okay, so
No.
have we reached a little bit more of agreement about what these means now? It's like, are we saying like D is bad and C is average?
I don't know.
Is that what we're saying?
But but then
Seems like it.
average compared to the others or average on its own. So it's all a whole different discussion.
Let's review at the end, I think.
Let's go with Shenmue and then we'll see. We can
Yep.
move this around throughout the season as well. So no worries if we need to change. It is a definitive tier list though, so it's important. But okay, but don't worry. So Shenmue.
So with that in mind,
James.
Casey, can you just scroll up the page a little bit, because I'm sure there's a tier above S.
So like this.
Where's it gone? Is it gone?
It's
there?
gone. It's gone to the sky, to the heavens.
Well, I'll keep me short and sweet, because everyone knows what I'm going to put Shenmue. So S has to be.
No arguments for me.
Greatest video game ever made in the history of time.
Okay, so Fantasy Star.
Life changing. I'm sure Casey will agree with me as well.
No one else's opinion matters.
Life changing game.
So yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's very true. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'm more interested in other people's thoughts on this, because nothing will change mine.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed to say that I have never played a Shenmue game, and so I can't judge.
Okay. Rav.
So Casey, it's gonna be a C for you, isn't it? Okay, so you want me to go first?
I wanted you to
Okay.
go first.
Okay, I'm gonna go next then. It's funny because I am finding out that great minds think alike and SD thinks a lot like me, or the other way around, because it's not the first time that he's written something on Twitch's chat that is pretty much what I had written down on my notes, which is that so SD said, for me, everything that's just been said for Virtua Fighter is also true of Shenmue. And my notes started with, I've already mentioned that Virtua Fighter was groundbreaking and it was a major reason why I bumped its classification up, so it's only fair that I do the same to Shenmue. So yeah. So
It's an S?
hold that thought. I mean,
Surprising.
no, I mean back in its day, you could barely. I say barely, but you couldn't find any other game like that, right? It was like, I think, first steps into an open world when it came to console games. At least there was a wide variety of gameplay mechanics and mini games. Felt like it simulated real life. I might have been a bit too impatient to actually enjoy it as much as the game deserved to be enjoyed. But I can totally see why people would fall over heels for it, like you two have. I do understand why it became a cult classic. But objectively speaking, I'm afraid to say that that's pretty much a niche. As in, but the sailor thing, right? I mean, it's not an S for me, mostly because it's not as far-reaching as the other franchises I gave an S are. It's stuck into its own relatively small bubble, and nobody else seems to appreciate it. And it also doesn't help that Shenmue 3 was built on a small budget and was relatively lacking to other games of its time. It feels like it doesn't really have a lot of its prospects about getting back to its former glory are very thin, because it seems like it's never ever going to have the budget for it. I'm afraid it falls short of the franchises we've discussed, or at least some of them. So I'm not giving it an S.
You're
It's an A.
breaking my heart, Rav.
It's still an A. It's not like I'm
Still an A.
crapping all over it, is it?
Good. It's a great grade. My God. Okay. So I'm kind of embarrassed now. So as I said before, I'm trying to be impartial and objective. So I had on my notes, I had B/A, and then a note saying, "Make up your mind, Casey." And I'll explain. I'm being objective. I do think it deserves to be a step, maybe not a step, but like half step, perhaps above Virtua Fighter, though. I feel a little bit the same, but the impact of the game in its community has to be considered here. I feel it might not be the biggest community, but a game that has that impact on a group of people all around the world that like travel to a far away place to visit the sites and go to the same places, that put their money where their mouth is, and are still pushing for vocally for a new game. I think it matters in this case, objectively speaking. I do feel though that everything that Rav said is true and to be considered. We did have the animation not so long ago. We did have 3. We did have 1 and 2 HD. People are still playing those. Are we getting a new one? Hopefully, we don't know. I do feel it's not yet at the same like point of neglection from its creator, not Sega, but from the creator, than Virtua Fighter is from Sega. But that's it. From Sega, for sure. They just, if you want to do anything with it, just go ahead. We're not touching that, apart from the HD remasters. But I do feel like if I'm giving a B to Virtua Fighter, I should give an A to Shenmue. Personal
Or
opinions
higher?
aside, or higher. No, as I said, personal opinions. For me personally, it's an S game. Of course it is, right? Life changing in many ways. So yeah. So what this means is 2 A's and an S.
The only counter argument I've got to what you say is that it feels like Virtua Fighter's community is much larger than Shenmue's, even if maybe Shenmue's
Probably.
might be more passionate in general.
Probably. That's
Especially in Japan.
I said
there we
that.
go.
I said that. I think that's the thing. That's one of the things that tips it over for me. Because even if it has a larger community, but as a whole, I think even a smaller community is more vocal, and it means that the game has a bigger impact on people, I feel like. And that's true for everyone who is a Shenmue fan. It's not just about the quality of the games, but it's how impactful they were on their lives, and that's why they're still there waiting for a new one. They're still like annoying people on Twitter every 4th, right?
You know, it's really interesting.
I don't know. That's my point of view. I don't know if I'm right.
No, I mean,
Casey, you don't have to be diplomatic. No, I don't think it's
mostly
a
matter of perception based on what you see, because everything you've said is true for me for Virtua Fighter. Like the passionate community begging for another one, it's made a difference in their lives. But I see it for Virtua Fighter a lot more than I see it for Shenmue. But that's because I am in the Virtua Fighter circles.
That's it. And I am in the Shenmue
and you
circle,
are in the Shenmue circle, yes.
See, I'd say what you're saying there, Rav, but the other way around, just because of my circles.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I guess all in all, A, right?
Yep.
Okay. Phantasy Star. And I changed this. This was originally Phantasy Star Online. But Sega, on their website, consider this Fantasy Star. Okay, so they consider it as like the part of the whole series. So, and that probably is fair. Lewis says, "I demand a recount." We'll do it at the end. We'll do it at the end. So, Fantasy Star. Any takers here?
Are we in the sort of stage now where we're sort of rattling through the ranks for these? Well, I mean, they're still amazingly popular games, but like for me, Fantasy Star is not as great as it was. Like Fantasy Star Online was the peak for me, and then I've gone back. I've played Fantasy Star on the Sega Ages, loved it. I'm not a turn-based RPG guy either, but the original Fantasy Star is so charming and so amazing. But again, where are we now in terms of Fantasy Star Online 2, which I know is a pretty popular franchise still for Sega. Really, they're throwing a lot of money into the game and New Genesis and all these things, events that I'm sure they're still doing. But for me, the popularity, I don't know if it's there. In regarding like comparing it to these other series, I did have it down as an A, but looking at the A's, it may have to fall into the B category now. And again, this is like something that if they were to come out with more consistent games for Fantasy Star again, like maybe a fully fledged RPG, like not an online one, try and rekindle. I mean, RPGs, JRPGs especially, are massive at the moment. So Sega kind of missing a bit of a trick by just, continuing with the Fantasy Star Online 2 and nothing else. There's definitely more to the Fantasy Star series than the way it's ended up. And I think it probably is a good time now to release a fully fledged Fantasy Star game. And I think it probably could be successful in this day and age, for sure. But based on where it is at the moment, I mean, I'd happily play a Fantasy Star Online 3, but I just feel like maybe they should go back to a pure RPG Fantasy Star, because that was where it was born from. The online thing took over, and it's a great thing, like the original on the Dreamcast especially. But yeah, difficult one. But for me, thinking about the perception of it as well, I don't know if many people even know what Fantasy Star is.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so it's
walking around the street, if you're asking random people, I don't know if they'd know, but they would know Final Fantasy, if you know what I mean. So I feel like you kind of have to compare it to series like Final Fantasy, because they were kind of on the same level back in the day. And again, there's a lot of these dormant sort of Sega IPs, they've lost the ways over time, and the games that they were up against and better back in the day, they've fallen short of in this day and age, and Fantasy Star is unfortunately one of them. So chuck it in B.
Okay. That's a great idea for a future episode of the show. Someone goes out on the street and like, excuse me, do you know what Fantasy Star is? Like, yeah.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, you have like
like Family Fortunes, we asked 100 people.
No, but in a hoodie at night.
A Japanese RPG.
Like in a hoodie at night. Excuse me, do you know what Fantasy Star is?
Would you like some
Mace.
Fantasy Star?
No, that's even worse. No.
It's free. The first one's free.
Like maybe a box art, but without the name, like the name redacted. Like, what's this game and what's this game? And they go, oh, that's Final Fantasy. That one, no idea.
Probably. Okay. Lime?
Yeah?
Any opinion on this one or not really?
I don't have any opinion. No.
Okay.
I'm leaving myself out of this one too.
Okay. Rav?
This is the third franchise in a row which I'm gonna focus on how groundbreaking it was. Because the first Fantasy Star Online was ahead of its time when it came to being like an MMO game on a console. Like, well,
Hmm.
the Saturn and the first PlayStation dabbed on the online capabilities, but none got as far as Phantasy Star did. Phantasy Star Online, that is. And it would take until the PS3 and 360 generation for that to be replicated when it came to consoles. So it's got its own place in history because of that. And Phantasy Star Online 2, it's probably doing something right because it's been holding on for years and it's got its own dedicated players. But I agree with pretty much with everything that James said, in that it it doesn't really get a lot of recognition. Like, few people know it outside its circle. I mean, to be fair, the only reason why I know it is because it's Sega, or else it would totally fly over my head. Because it's a pretty minor MMORPG in the greater scheme of things, at least compared to some of the largest names. B- but based on the fact that it's still got a very loyal fan base, and the fact that the first Phantasy Star Online was groundbreaking, even if it wasn't exactly like one of the greatest classics of all time, and that the Mega Drive and the Master System games were very good RPGs, but again, not all-time classics, not games that many people still talk about as being great RPGs from back in the day. I am going to settle on a very good but not exceptional B.
Very good, but not exceptional B. And we have our first, uh, you know, first true B. Our first true B. Because
One that we all
this
agree on.
this is a B for me as well. I would say I will say though, Lewis is saying, I agree with Jim. Would have been cool to see them revive Phantasy Star as their flagship RPG, but I guess they bought their way into Persona now. I don't see that being a problem. Actually, the Phantasy Star universe, like Phantasy Star universe. No, that's a great game, by the way. That's a great game. But the Phantasy Star setting is unique in its own way. It's like a sci-fi RPG, right? You have all those fancy settings like Final Fantasy, maybe not so much now, but I think it still is it's like a fancy themed series. Dragon Quest, most JRPGs or turn-based RPGs are set in a medieval time setting or fantasy setting. This is a sci-fi setting, so that works in its favor, I think. And it would be nice to see a proper modern turn-based RPG in the series with the lore, with all the nods to other characters in the series. Because the story in these games was pretty strong as well. Even though I'm not too big on these games, because turn-based RPG. But I agree with James. The Sega Ages version of Phantasy Star is the way to play them. Play this particular one, the first one. The quality of life improvements make it so much better, and maybe you won't have the issues that you would with playing the original on the Master System. So B for me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I've just made an executive decision. Here, we're gonna go through halfway through this, and then leave the rest for another show, right? Because this is turning out to be a more complicated discussion than I thought. So we'll have all of you back soon, like in a couple of months or so, to continue this, right? But let's try to go till Monkey Ball. Sounds good? Sounds fair?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So next up, Football Manager. And I'll go first, because I haven't been first in a while. I'll give it an A. Okay. I think I'm not sure if I'm being too positive, but I think it deserves an A for the massive community that it has behind, the quality of the games, the influence that the game has. I was actually looking for a nice picture to create this, like the football manager picture here for this tier list, and I found a story about a manager that manages or became a manager of a French team because of Football Manager.
Okay,
And so
it's a cool
it's
story.
like real life clubs use Football Manager as a way to scout players, like unknown players. So it says something about the quality of the game, the influence it has, and I think it's a massive franchise in terms of players. It's like player numbers on PC, of course. I don't think it's that big on consoles, although Sega has been releasing the games, the recent games on consoles. But nevertheless, I think it deserves an A. That's my 2 cents here.
See, it's nice in a way going after someone that's ranking, because hearing your views there, you've upped me slightly, because I was going to kind of start a bit negative just because it's not my cup of tea, and I shouldn't really be basing these ranks on what I like to play, because there is a bigger picture out there that it is a successful series. It's going to get sales instantly because it's a football manager, and probably one of the few of its kind actually these days. There's not many management based football games that have got the appeal and the instant recognition. It's like it is a franchise that's recognizable throughout the whole global football slash soccer, community, if you want to call it.
No
Community,
slash. It's
bigger than
just
that.
football. Yeah.
No slashes. Yeah, I was
Yes.
just in case we got some American listeners that might not know.
We
what I'm on
do,
about.
we do. Most of them, but yeah, deal
Yeah.
with it.
So you went A. I'm still gonna go a little bit lower than that, because I feel like there's nothing too groundbreaking with each release. It gets updated. It's kind of like FIFA, how it gets like squad updates, personnel updates.
FC,
But
please.
in terms of like the overall, I mean, obviously the graphics have improved over time, but not on the extent of like, wow, look at this photorealistic. It's like I'm watching a match that I'm managing. It's still very much grounded in, I guess, just so anyone can play on the PC. They don't want to over extend the graphics, right? They're not known for the graphics anyway, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't feel like 2025 is going to have anything groundbreaking that I must rush out and get that when I've got 2024. I could just carry on playing. It's just going to be a squad update, or to have that sort of modern feel with what's going on in the world right now with my team or someone else's team, or player names that you know of that have signed to different clubs. That's the only reason really that you'd probably continue to buy each year. So for me anyway, what did I say? I was going to rank it a B.
Okay.
I think it's a very successful series, but
Fair.
my own opinion brings it down.
Yeah. I say groundbreaking is probably too much, but innovations there are by the bucket loads every year, like different features. But that's something that only a person who would want to play the game in the first place would see and appreciate, right? So it's like it's for a very specific player
Maybe
base.
so. I mean, I
It's
played
not something that
2024.
there are no
2023.
features that will make someone rush out to buy it if they wouldn't want to do that in the first place, I think.
I didn't feel like I was experiencing anything amazing that I wasn't when I was playing like Football Manager 2001 or Championship Manager, or whatever it was called back in the day. I don't feel like there's enough change that it blew me away. if you went back and played like FIFA 98
I get
and
it. I get
FIFA
it.
24,
Yeah, for sure.
you'll see these a huge change in everything. Whereas the Football Manager aspect is you just know what you're expecting. I suppose a lot of like stats and tactics and
But Comic Sans. No, no, they don't use Comic Sans. No, they don't. They don't. Like I was just making a font joke. But Times New Roman. I don't know. I don't know what the font is. Anyway, B, right?
yes.
Rev.
Do you want to go first, Lime?
Well, sure. I have no opinion. Rav, go.
Okay, that was
Which
quick.
is why I asked you first.
Okay, so this is an S. An S any day of the week. An S any week of the month. An S any month of the year. Any year of the century. Any century of the millennium. This is an absolute S. I mean, this game is so incredibly influential. It's definitely, definitely it might be exaggerating, but it is probably more influential than Sega itself. Like, KC, I feel like being Portuguese, growing up in Portugal in the 90s, we are in an interesting position because, especially me, since I grew up in a pretty remote town, but that there weren't all that many things for us to entertain ourselves with. Like there were only like 4 channels on TV, and they would all just show the same stuff. So we were kind of forced to soak into both football and Sega because those were two of the huge cultural hallmarks in 90s Portugal. So, and these actually kind of shows because whenever I go online, and I say this from both sides because I've been actively participating, not as much anymore now that I got this job, but I used to participate really actively on both Sega communities and Football Manager communities, and there is an incredible disconnection between both. Neither side has any clue, or very few people do. And most of those are Portuguese, which is why I actually brought that point before. Uh, just how huge the other side is. There's very few Sega fans who are aware of how much of a influential in the real world and money making behemoth Football Manager is. And there are tons of millions of Football Manager players around the world who couldn't care less about Sega and who have no idea about anything about Sega at all. Those Venn diagrams, or the Venn diagram, couldn't be further apart. And I should really emphasize these really deeply because
And you're justifying my A, I feel like.
really, the only thing, as SD said, and again, I agree with what SD said, the only thing that could possibly bring Football Manager down is because it's not like a true Sega franchise. They bought it. They bought like an established product from Sports Interactive, right? But
I wouldn't say that as the reason because they bought Atlas, right? And we put Persona up there. For some is an S, yourself included. I would say it's like that you explained it better than I ever could. There's a disconnect between Sega and Football Man as communities, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
an intersect, right? An intersection, like very small, but like Football Manager fans really couldn't care less about Sega. That's why I don't think it should be up there with Sonic, which is an S for me, or like a dragon. Do you see? Like that's my reasoning there. Anything else for everything else, I agree. It's a definite S. Yeah.
I get
So
it.
this
Yeah,
is a Sega tier list. Is what you mean?
I'm comparing things. I'm looking at the overall picture. That's my goal, my
fair
whole
enough.
thing here. So
By that
I
train of
really-
thought, we should probably create a whole new tier above the tier list because Football Manager is larger than Sega,
probably.
and that is the reason why I put it at S. It's because
Fair enough.
I
fair
mean
enough.
it goes much further than Sega's borders. Really, it is a massive,
It truly is.
real life, influential title.
Okay. So SAB means it's an A,
Hey,
Yes.
right? Another one. Okay. That's good. That's good. That means Sega is good. Okay. So I'm going to let Lime pick. We have 3 left.
Hmm.
And I don't like seeing you like that quiet. I like hearing the sound of your voice. So which one would you like next? One that you want to
Can
have
we
some
go with
input
Super
on.
Monkey Ball then?
Let's go. Monkey Ball. Let's put it here.
it's good bananas.
Let's. Yes. So, Lime.
Yeah,
Please.
I mean, I think it's just like very good for what it is. I think like I think that it can someone like mention like any other game that does a similar thing? Like you kind of like tilt the whole
Marble
thing and then
Madness?
you. Sorry.
Marble Madness. I was
Marble
thinking of?
Madness. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so there
that's
are other
old.
games. Like I'm trying to like
But
judge
that's
like
a really old like classic
by
game.
how groundbreaking like it
I know
is.
what you
Like
mean.
it's like if there are no other games like that, then yes, it would be
It's pretty
groundbreaking.
unique, I'd say.
Yeah. So like what we have that I think like it's a very well known. It is very like fun to play. Like it's kind of like, and I say that because it's like there's speed involved. Like it's a little like has the same kind of fun factor to it as for me as Sonic has. So based on all of those things, I would give it an A.
Sounds fair.
That's where I would
Okay.
put it.
Any
Higher
other
than I was
thoughts here?
expecting. I'd probably go B on Monkey Ball just because I don't know. I don't feel like. Well, I mean, having said that, like sort of the original Super Monkey Ball Deluxe on the original Xbox is a perfect game, really. But I feel like the sequels since haven't been as good, but I don't know if that's just because it's more of a good thing, like, or maybe too much of a good thing. It is quite a difficult one to categorize, actually, because it is unique. You can't really compare it to much. But then there's been a few misses as well, aren't there? There's like literally the last Banana Mania or whatever was like a good Monkey Ball game since like Monkey Ball 2.
I liked it.
So, did I say B? I think I'll go
Yes.
beyond Monkey Ball just because, again, I'm trying to think more so like the games, and I don't know if I should be looking at these other categories like success and like what was the other one, perception, like influence and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's obviously not as influential as some of the other games that we've got in the S tier there. So, and sales wise as well, I don't think it sells as well as anything in the A tier there. So I'll put it in the B tier.
Okay. I'm gonna say B as well for Monkey Ball, right? As a whole, I didn't get into Monkey Ball until recently, so I missed all the hype, like the GameCube hype that I think was like those were the golden days, and then it expanded towards the PS2 and Xbox 360 and original Xbox. But I think it still has a massive following on Nintendo platforms. Okay, more than I think we realize. I've seen people commenting, like Nintendo fans commenting that, oh, this new Monkey Ball game is going to be awesome. Back to like the roots of Monkey Ball back in the GameCube days. So I think it still has a decent following there. The games, I think, quality wise, I don't think even the ones that are considered lesser are not bad games. So I think B is a nice middle ground here. I wouldn't consider it an A tier game or an A tier series, as in terms of popularity. I think it's like a step or two
that's a good
below
point.
the others. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good one, and one that's had more support by Sega than Shenmue or Virtua Fighter, sadly. So, right?
Rubbing
So,
salt in my wound.
yeah, in mine, all things considered, I think B is a pretty fair grade here. That's my
Is that
take.
because it's cheaper to make a new Monkey Ball game, do you think? Obviously, like Shenmue, you
Could be. I think
talking 20 million easy,
we're
aren't you, to-
talking about perception here, right? So, is Sega's perception different than ours? Probably as well.
like
I mean-
cost, budget, and then the sales are the factors, aren't they? So
For sure, but the sales they think they will get, right? It's always there's always a risk here, and if they think there's a bigger risk with Shenmue, which probably
for
there
sure.
is, or Virtua Fighter, which probably there is, they'll stay away from it. And I don't know.
I think they must have been generally happy with Banana Mania for them to go out of the way to make another new Monkey Ball game so soon.
For sure. So Rav, where do you stand?
I am standing on the B as well.
Okay.
Like you two. I don't really have a lot to add to what you said, because what everyone here has said, because it's pretty much the same. It is a very interesting franchise. It's got really interesting games. They are really fun. It's like trademark Sega, in which it's bonkers, it's bright, it's colorful, it's extremely cheerful. The music is great. It is definitely like it exhales Sega, and but the fact is that it's, even though the concept is pretty interesting, I don't think it reaches out that far. It's not all that it's never been that influential. I mean, most of the titles that I've given S or A were like exceptional at specific points in time. It are exceptional within their own genres, and it doesn't feel like Monkey Ball got that reach for however good it might be. So yeah, I think B is fair.
I think so. Yeah.
I tend to like miss the thing about the popularity as well, and like mostly go with like quality and stuff. So, and I absolutely agree that it might not be as well known or popular as it maybe deserves to be.
That's true. It deserves to have to be more popular.
It's a great party game, by the way.
It is.
It is. So that means 3 Bs and an A. So that's a B, I think. So, yeah. Okay. Next up, we have 2 left. Let's try to be brief if we can.
Someone
So,
needs to go to bed.
I mean, this is a long show. Somebody amigo, right? So thoughts. Should I go with mine first?
Go for
With
it.
yours
Go.
first.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yep.
So I gave it a C. Shocking, perhaps. I do enjoy Somebody Amigo. I do think it's a good game or a good series. I don't feel just the fact that it's been we had a new one in 2023 is a little bit mind-boggling to me. I don't see it being as popular as some of the franchises that we've discussed tonight to justify a new game. That said, I think also the release of C Smash VRS and like the fact that it's a game that's perfect for the Switch, on the other hand, justifies us having a new game. Want to do that
They've
again?
actually made
Rev?
made
Do
three
that again,
Really?
please.
as well.
Please. Okay, there we go. Nice, very nice. Okay, not
Perfect.
this, not
Thank
this,
you.
not the best. Okay, that's yeah. Oh, production,
say-
production. Yes,
And they've like made 3 different versions, right? Because they've done the VR one for the Quest,
that's
they've done
true.
the mobile version, and then they've done the Switch versions, which is crazy,
I,
really.
I wonder if
And
the VR one was like the focus, even though it
maybe
was released
so,
later.
I know what you mean. And then they made games out of it. Yeah. But I think it's telling, Casey, when you forgot to add it to the list originally.
That's
you in
true
there.
as well. That's true as well.
Speaking of which, how are we considering Judgment, by the way? Is it part of the Like a Dragon, or is it just something that might come later?
We didn't talk about. I didn't even remember Judgment. I would. Yeah, no one, and not just me. I asked you guys if there was anything missing. No one remembered
Yeah, I
Judgment
didn't
either.
think of it. I didn't think of it either. Yeah.
But I would say we could add this later, but we
So,
could
yeah.
also consider it as part of the Like a Dragon series. It's in the same universe. I don't know.
Dare
Maybe
you
something
do
to
that?
consider. Yeah.
You might have.
I-
You might get many fans against you if you do
it's
that.
okay. Yeah, I wouldn't say because I haven't played the Judgment games yet. It's something to do. It's in my to-do list. That said, Samba de Amigo.
Yes.
To try to wrap this
Yeah.
up.
So quick. I'll go with a C. I really enjoyed the first game on the Dreamcast. I was ecstatic getting the peripherals back in the day, but since then, it's not really a franchise. I love the characters and I love the Sega-ness, but I don't know. There's something about it. It hasn't really stood the test of time for me. So C.
See? Okay. Lyman Rav. Who wants to go first?
I haven't played it, so I got.
Okay.
I'm
That makes it easier.
out of it.
It's a
Rev?
tricky one for me, because in one hand I want to give it B, but on the other hand I feel like the games I've been given B deserve higher than Samba de Amigo. I mean, Sega clearly rates it really high because Amigo is in every single bloody all-star game.
That's true.
and the same with the music and the stages. I mean, could that and I see why, because it had its own controllers for the Dreamcast, so it was pretty unique. And I value innovation when it comes to these tier lists. But the thing is, it didn't really go. But it didn't really go up from there, did it? It had the
The
VR
Wii version.
game, and yeah,
There was a Wii version.
that's true.
Yeah, the
we
Wii.
tend to forget, myself included.
And yeah, and then there is this Switch release that was kind of low key. So yeah, so
Great game though. Great game.
I know, I definitely believe that. It's just that I don't think it was a huge deal. So yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a C.
Okay. So we're all in agreement here. And we're going to put it in C. Okay, last one. Hatsune Miku, which was a bit of a last minute addition. I was browsing through Sega's website and I saw, oh, Hatsune Miku. Okay. Yeah, we should actually do this because it's a bigger deal than sometimes we think. So anyone wants to take this one? Has anyone but me played these games?
I've played quite a few, to be fair, but
Oh,
it's still
okay.
difficult. I still feel like I haven't played enough, even though I've played the VR one. I've played whatever the other games are called, like F. I know one ends with an F on the PS3.
Project Diva F, F Second.
Yeah. So I've played like maybe 3, maybe 4. But I still don't feel comfortable talking about it. So it's a weird one for me. But I understand that the success and popularity, you know, it sells out audiences in Japan just to watch a virtual girl dancing on a stage, which is crazy. You know, the music over the years is super popular. There's people that dedicate their lives to like Miku as well. It's also, it's like one of the highest, probably up there as one of the most worn cosplay outfits, I would have thought. Which maybe that means something as well. I don't know. What did I put it down as? I don't think I wrote it on the list because I think you added it as a last minute thing.
So putting you on the spot now, what would you say?
I think it deserves to be higher than Samba de Amigo for sure. In terms of like a rhythm-based game that's successful, it's got popularity, it's got the sales numbers to back it up as well. Big in Japan, deserves the recognition that it probably has. I'm just probably not the best guy equipped to really give it a good opinion. So for that reason, I don't want to pass on it because I've got enough of an opinion to give a rank, but I'll probably chuck it in B, looking at what we've got on the board already.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
Sales and success, it maybe could be higher than that, based on some of the conversations we had about Football Manager and stuff. So,
okay. Lime.
So based on, if we say that C is average, and putting in some of the arguments that James just made, like people cosplay as it, some people dedicate their lives to liking it, like it has like. I'm not sure I can say that it's well known, but the people who like it, they definitely do. Plus that, like the music is kind of good. It's like it's music that you can very much listen to. So like I would put it for that reason not on average. I would not put it as a C for those reasons. I would put it above, so I would put it as a B.
Sounds good. Rav.
I'm skipping this one because I've never played any Hatsune Miku game. I have no interest in doing so, and I cannot in good conscience shoot a random ranking off my hip and have it sway over people who actually know what they're talking about and their rankings.
Okay. I gave it an A. For most of the reasons already stated. The games are good. The quality is top notch, I would say. Also, I think it's important to note the popularity of this series is really massive, right? So I don't think many people understand how popular, like things that James said here probably were a bit of a surprise for people who are not in the know, right? Who don't know what Hatsune Miku is.
you get like old Japanese men going to watch the shows, right?
Right, like the simple fact that there are live shows with people just like standing in line to watch a virtual doll.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Miku fans. Not saying this in a bad way, just like telling it like it is, I think. But the fact that happens, I think, should be an indication of the degree of popularity of Hatsune Miku. That said, I think it's a little bit like Football Manager. So there's a bit of a disconnect. Maybe not as much, but a disconnect between Miku fans and Sega fans. So some Miku fans aren't Miku fans because they know it from Sega. which like I know this because I'm a Sega fan. I played the games because they were Sega games, but I would say there's a larger number of people who know of Miku because of Miku and not because of Sega, and couldn't care less about Sega as well. I think that's my perception at least. So I give it an A, but that said, with 2 B's and an A, it's a B, right?
Yeah.
So it's here next to Puyo, Phantasy Star, Monkey Ball. There we have Hatsune Miku. Okay, very briefly, peeps, very briefly, do we want to make any adjustment before we close this first half of the tier list? Or should we do it
really.
at the end?
I
now
want to
we
change.
understood the tiers. We should probably move
The show is almost 3.5 hours long. So if we could be brief, we'll continue this discussion another day.
I think I gave Like a Dragon an A, right?
Yes.
I want to change that to an S.
Okay.
Because it's I wasn't really fair about it, because like I took into, because like Sonic became an A because I took into consideration like the popularity as well. I did not take that into consideration with Like a Dragon, and when I do that, it definitely becomes an S. So I want to change that answer.
Okay.
Yeah, and in
so that doesn't
same
really
breath,
change things, but okay.
I would change Sonic as well, because if we're going off popularity, like you guys have said, Sonic is Sega, so I think it has to be an S for that reason. And then similar thing with Like a Dragon series. I think those 2 series are pretty much holding up Sega at the moment. Maybe you could probably argue Persona as well, especially with the sales figures that we've had. I'd probably tune up my scores of A's to S's for them pair.
So Sonic becomes an S?
I would now change to an S personally.
Okay. For you? Yeah. I'm Like a Dragon remains an A, or change it to an S?
I'd probably turn that up to an S as well, from now that we understand, or now that I understand the tier system.
Okay. And Persona? You mentioned that as well.
I'd personally keep that as an A for myself.
Okay.
Just because it's a very specific audience that enjoys that games, I feel.
So I said Lime's change didn't change anything, but it did. Anyway, the fact that James also changed Like a Dragon makes Sonic has 3 S's and an A, so clearly an S. And Like a Dragon gets 4 S's now, so it's an S, right? So I would probably, to be fair, right? Judging by
I think overall,
our ranks.
that looks a lot fairer.
Okay.
But
we don't need
stuff.
to do that. We can do this. Go by order in which we added them to the list.
I was going to suggest, if we were ordering them from left to right, even within which tier, I would suggest that Virtua Fighter goes all the way to the right, because it's clearly the least consensual out of the A tier. But if we're not doing that, then that's fine.
I don't know. Maybe you should, right? So this is like this. Persona is definitely the first one here. Virtua Fighter, I think, yeah, you're right. It should be here. Football Manager, probably here. Probably. Sorry, here. And Shenmue.
Chance we could bump.
No, it's the other way around.
Yeah, I think that's
Shenmue like this.
Persona. Shenmue up to an S, maybe.
If anyone wants to change.
We lost Lewis by that stage, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Lewis is, it's like, he'll never listen to this again.
You'll have to get Lewis as a guest spot, and then it will.
Yes. Okay, so this, I think, even if we don't change anything else, I think this looks much fairer. I don't know. Any other change you want to make?
I can make like a comment.
Yes.
Because I feel like I was very harsh on Sonic when talking about Sonic first, and I just wanted to explain that in my mind, everybody already knows that I love Sonic. Like I'm 100% in the games, for heaven's sake. So like in order to argue at all for my rank, I would have to explain the things that might surprise people, like why I would not have an as an S, and like that's
Yeah.
why I only focused on the negative things. I hope that's
Okay. No,
under
I think
understandable. That's why I mentioned those things and like not like all of the positive things that are there. And I think I might be a little bit more critical as well, because there have been lots of games that have been unfinished, and I feel like my mind is a little bit like, come on now, change this. I love this, so change this. So then I'm like a bit like, if I put it like lower, then maybe they will go like, oh yeah, we don't want that. Like we're gonna have to step up our game. Like I feel like I subconsciously want them to step up their game because I see the potential. I just wanted to comment on that.
I think it's clear that you hate Sonic. It's okay. Don't worry about that. I think we're all under the correct perception that you just hate them. Yeah.
I see. I see.
So that's our tier list for now. Right? For now. We're gonna go back to this at a later stage. So and if we get more guests, we'll ask them to rank these series as well, and we'll see if things change. Big shout out to Dr. Scottnick as well. Thank you for joining us, even if we're just like wrapping things up. But other than that, thank you guys very much for joining me. This was harder than I imagined, as it usually is, right? I usually think things will go really quick, and no, that wasn't the case. So I do feel like 21 series was a bad decision, but okay, I'll stick to it until the end of this
shows
season.
how serious we took it. I think
That's
you
true.
live and you learn.
Yeah,
it's going to be the definitive tier list. It's how serious we're taking it.
For sure.
Hanging on the edge of tomorrow.
You were waiting for someone to say that, right? No one did. But
everybody got the reference. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
It's the right audience.
Yeah, that's the correct one. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for joining me. Very briefly, where can people find you? Let's start with our guest of honor, Rav.
Oh, thank you so much. So you can find me on X/Twitter, Instagram, with the handle Ravsieg. So it's RAVSIEG. You can find me on Discord, on some channels, especially Radio Segas and the SEGA Lounges. You can also find me on Steam and the PSN and the Xbox Live. I mean, everywhere I've got a presence, it's Ravsieg. So there's nothing to
really easy
to get confused about. Yes.
Okay.
And hopefully activity is going to pick up. We'll see.
Excellent. And you're going to come back soon to, finish this conversation. You will.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not a question.
I've got some arguments to talk about regarding the other franchises.
Excellent. Next up, Lime Reversed.
Lime Reversed. I promise I love Sonic. Wow, my gosh. I've got proof. Just go to my Twitch, watch my streams, and you'll see that I play Sonic games like on main. So I aim to 100% all at least like main Sonic games, and we're well on our way there. So if you want to follow that journey, then please do. Lime Reversed on Twitch, and I'm on X Twitter as well. And
Excellent. Well done. Very good. And finally, James.
Finally. Yeah, so I'm SkillJim, YouTube SkillJim, Twitter X SkillJim, if you want to find me personally. Otherwise, if you're of the Shenmue persuasion, just search Shenmue Dojo anywhere. We're literally everywhere. And that's me. Quick one for you.
Very nice. Yeah. Excellent. And Shenmue Dojo as well. Find the Shenmue Dojo. Yeah. As for us, thank you very much, guys, for watching on Twitch, for listening on Radio Sega. We'll be back live next month. I actually not sure if it's next month or the very beginning of May, because probably it falls on the first couple of days of May. But we'll be live once again. Probably not with the second half of this. We'll see. Maybe we'll leave that for another time. But obviously, the SEGA Lounge will be back next week. We have a very interesting show. I'm so excited about next week's show. I'll tell you right now. If you're listening to this, tune in next week. It's a Streets of Rage themed episode. That's all I'm gonna say. And it was, when you think those guests will be great, but you're not really sure, and then they exceed your expectations. That's what happened with next week's show, which has been recorded already. So do tune in next week. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, for listening. TheSegaLounge.com. Obviously, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheSegaLounge for the next few live episodes. And thank you for putting up with us for over 3.5 hours. Hopefully this was mildly interesting, and we'll pick up the conversation very soon. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.